there are no other voices on that recording. It's all gone quiet over there. It's not here, though, where England are trying to make inroads into the Australian first innings. After being bowled out for 294 this morning, Joss Buttler went on to make 70, Jack Leach 21. But Mitch Marsh finally removed Jack Leach to end England's resistance. And then, of course, England made a very good start with the ball. But you can say that quite a lot this summer, because then they met the wall, or the double wall, in fact, of Labuschagne and Steve Smith. I'm Gorilla Hendo, or Cat Sitting Hendo on Twitter. And alongside me, I have the shy and retiring Ed Benson.
Hello!
Hello! And on my left, I have Blythe Spartan's greatest supporter. And if you want to know how well Blythe Spartans
doing about as well as England are doing,
go and have a look. Go and have a look at their position. What league are they in now?
National League North.
National League
the
North.
AFC Wimbledon fan lecturing the other fan about success.
I know. I feel sorry for Jack having to preside and find things to talk about a team that's not winning, because I feel the same. Anyway, yes, it is Jack. It's War Jack.
Yeah, hello. It's good to be back.
He's back, and well, hopefully he'll be back at various times throughout the winter.
Indeed,
if we can pull him off the bus to Leamington Spa.
I've got to go to Kings Lynn soon.
Kings Lynn, that's a bit of a trek as well, isn't it?
That's even further, because you got to go like down past everywhere and then back up into Norfolk.
So that's ridiculous. Ridiculous. This is not uphill in Norfolk.
No.
But anyway, what do we think? I mean, I thought that Sam Curran, and we talked earlier in the series, or there's been talk earlier in the series, that the one, if there is a weakness to Steve Smith, it's to left-arm bowlers.
Yeah, it's shown in his average, isn't it?
Sam Curran has actually bowled quite well to him this morning. Had a couple of LBW shouts, didn't he?
Yeah, he caused him a few problems. We saw Steve Smith not looking entirely in control, which is something we haven't seen for a few years.
Yeah. Indeed.
Yeah. I'm sceptical of him as a test bowler, but it's undoubtedly true that he did cause Smith some problems. So.
And I think he did that without really getting a lot of swing. I mean, there is a lot of swing.
There was a little bit, he got a little bit, but not like... I think Mitchell Marsh has swung it the most, to be honest.
Yeah, I don't think the conditions are quite as conducive to swing today as they were yesterday. It's a lot brighter, there's a lot less cloud around.
I would also say Sam Curran looks like he's put on a yard. He was bowling in the sort of low to mid 80s rather than the high 70s.
High 70s, which
yeah, no, I saw someone talking about that on Twitter, and that's interesting if so. I mean, he's not a big man, so he needs to be reasonably swift, or a little bit... he needs to be able to get the ball to come through, and if he can get it to swing as well, then he could be a real handful. Anyway, we are about to get underway with the afternoon session. Both teams are out there now.
Yep.
So why don't I jingle up the new bats, the returning
continuing batsman. Yes, indeed.
Inevitable. You know Steve Smith's inevitable. He treats the fielders like they're not really there. Hits the ball in the air across the boundary line. He ain't going nowhere.
And the other one is this man.
If this jingle's needed, something has gone wrong. Take a toke of mellow smoke, guzzle something strong. Hopefully by now you cannot feel much pain as I bring the news that it's Marnus Labuschagne.
As well as Marnus Labuschagne being one of my new favourite cricketers to watch with a bat in his hand, I think that's one of my new favourite jingles. I really love that. Anyway, it's going to be Jofra Archer to bowl, and he bowled a fantastic spell this morning, took both wickets, 7 overs, 5 maidens, 2 for 7. And some people thought maybe he was kept on a little long, and that worried about him being over bowled, but he's going to bowl again from the pavilion end. To Labuschagne, he's on 32, he's got 3 slips and a gully, and he's got a ball in his hand now that is 20 overs old or so, and it's outside the off stump and left alone by Labuschagne. It swings once it's gone past the bat, and Bairstow tumbles to his left to field.
Indeed, well, being joined on Twitter by Ian Barker, who says, once again, many thanks for the coverage all summer from a balmy Kansas City. Steve Aldersley says, congratulations to Joe Denley on the birth of his second child. Another Denley out too early.
Very good. I've got a couple of good tweets about
That is
Joe
good
Denley
stuff.
this morning.
That's good stuff. That's a good. My favourite tweet of the day. That one, I think. Yeah.
Archer in again to Labuschagne for a full, and he clips the ball beautifully. He's so good off his legs. That's a sign of a really well balanced batsman, and that has sped away across the outfield to square leg for 4.
It's Nissan she. It's Nissan she.
Now I would say, all right, we are agreed that at the moment Steve Smith is the best batsman in the world, and you know he's that much above everyone else in terms of his figures. But I don't mind watching Labuschagne bat all afternoon, whereas I don't really like watching Steve Smith.
You get frustrated watching Smith consistently.
But Labuschagne has played some lovely shots today already, and he's on to 36. Only failed once in this series. He's forward to that one. It's a fuller delivery, but he plants the foot, bat right alongside it, and eases it out to extra cover.
Watching Steve Smith, you appreciate Steve Smith. You don't enjoy watching him bat. It's like whiskey for me. It's like someone could tell me how delicious and rare this whiskey is, but it just makes me cough and want to sing.
I would compare it to Mozart for me. I mean, obviously he's a genius, but you know I find it a bit predictable. Outside the off stump, left alone by Labuschagne.
Read the headline: Hendo slams Mozart.
Yeah, he'll be turning his grave, will Wolfgang Amadeus.
Should we have Jofra Archer's jingle while I ruminate on that thought?
Talking of Mozart.
Now it's time for Jofra Archer.
Sounds a bit Mozarty. Who did write the Archer's theme tune?
I can't believe it's still going.
Yeah, it is.
Still going.
Archer in again, full, and he clips this one away off middle stump. But he is such a well-balanced player that he can do that. He doesn't turn the bat too early. A little bit disappointed with the shot, I think, but maybe wanted to go square. He gets it to long leg, gets a single, and the score moves to 60 for 2.
Blowing bubble gum.
He does do that. That's the one thing that puts me off about Labuschagne.
Yeah.
The theme tune of
Don't
the
mind chewing
Archers.
gum, but bubble gum.
Oh, I don't like chewing gum myself.
The theme tune of the Archers is called Barrack Green and is a maypole dance from the suite My Native Heath, written in 1924 by the Yorkshire composer Arthur Wood.
Arthur Wood. Jofra Archer in, bowls outside the off stump to Smith for the first time since lunch, and he leaves it outside the off stump. Rises well through to the keeper, and there is no run. I just don't think. I mean, Jofra Archer and maypole dances. You can't see the two together, really, can you?
No.
Jofra Archer in a sort of country village.
No, we saw what sort of dancing he does like when he took his break from the World Cup.
Hey, now that would upset the village fate.
That
would be great.
That would be great.
Bit of twerking at the
Bit of
village
bumming
fete.
and grinding.
Yeah, fantastic.
Well, isn't the Archers? I've never listened to it. But isn't the Archers the program that they try and introduce interesting plot points and people complain because they say it's not realistic enough?
It's too interesting.
They just want people falling off ladders and not having any sugar in the local
Well,
shop or
that's
whatever.
all that happens in a village, isn't it? You know, apart from in Midsummer, where
Yeah.
of course people are
Midsummer,
murdered regularly.
Yeah,
Where it's more dangerous to live in Midsummer than it is to live in Basra, apparently.
Yeah,
They've done some analysis, population-wise. Yeah.
The opening the bowling from the pavilion end will be this man.
What would make road walk?
If his stumps were knocked
What
down,
would make road walk?
caught 5 feet off the
What
ground,
would make road walk?
if he trod on his
What would
stumps,
make road walk?
if God was one of the
What
arms,
would make road walk?
broad walk.
Moderately defensive. He's got 2 slips and a gully. He's got a ring of 3 from cover to mid-off. He's got a mid-wicket, a mid-on, and a long leg. Unusually, hasn't taken the early wicket of Warner because he fell to Archer.
Yes. Because he's literally had his number.
He certainly has. He's over the wicket to the right-handed Labuschagne, and he's in, and he bowls it wide, maybe trying to tempt him into a drive on the up, but he won't be drawn into that. He blows another bubble.
It's basically been like Broad gets back from home, right? Keys, wallet, Warner.
Yeah, and I can hear applause for that out in the green room. They enjoyed that, and if you're entertaining the green room, well, that's
Well, I've done all right.
as you may have seen this morning, it was all go in the green room with Ed Benson deciding on which of 3 laundry bags to order.
Well, you know me, I'm very anti-entertainment on this program.
Absolutely,
And so
you cannot bear entertainment.
I just want you to say run, wicket,
Exactly.
4, 6. I just no words.
You want no
no run. That's it.
That's it.
Is
That's
that good
what I
enough?
want.
That's right. And then just
That's
God, I'm
dead
getting
air.
a bit aroused. Anyway, go on.
Talk about wallpaper.
Wallpaper, yeah.
Well, you have just moved into a new place, haven't you? So,
Yeah, I think I've moved into near where Dr. Scott used to live.
Dr.
'cause-
Scott.
Yeah, because she lived near there's a Grand Designs episode, which is a renovation of a water tower, and she said she used to live near that, and I live right next to it now.
Well, we don't need to tell people where you live because you
No.
just shout it every now and
Yeah,
again.
yeah, yeah.
People can hear you.
I like to sing that bit from Oklahoma at the beginning in the morning. There's a bright golden haze on the meadow. So just follow the sound. Just follow the sound.
Follow the sound. Be drawn in. It's like the Pied Piper. Better ball, just slightly back of a length, has Labuschagne on the defensive outside the off stump. And more or less back to the bowler, the ball goes.
Well, me and Ed were actually on the same bus today. Didn't realise.
Yeah,
but
we were.
Completely ignored each other.
I didn't know who Jack was.
I've
so-
never seen him.
I don't talk to everyone. She talks to everybody on the bus, Endo. You go through. What are you doing here? 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 Oh, you're on Gorilla Cricket. That's why I do this.
Wouldn't it be brilliant though if you two had sat together without knowing each other and you just fallen into conversation?
Well, no, because we
Where are you on the way
both
to?
obviously golf at the same stop, and I saw him walking up towards Gorilla Cricket. I was like, right.
Broad bowls
Oh.
outside the off stump, and he's thrown the bat at that Labuschagne.
Yeah.
It's flown off the outside edge of the bat down to the untenanted third man area for 4 runs. I'm not sure whether he intended it to go right down there. It's
I don't mind that.
Bit of
I
a
don't
loose
mind
shot. That's
that.
a loose shot,
It
isn't
is
it?
a bit of a loose shot, I think. Yeah.
I'd much rather he's getting 4 that way rather than flicking balls off his pads
Yeah.
to the mid-wicket boundary.
Yep. Yeah, you got the ball will go in the air, and there is a chance. I mean, that didn't go anywhere near any fielder, but
Another 50 partnership from them too.
it is. Score moves on now to 64 for 2. He's in again, just a little bit of nibble away, but left alone by Labuschagne. Through the keeper it goes.
Got a tweet from Jonah, says, assuming my usual position of having to turn off Foxtel, is that the Australian, right? All they're carping on about is that Warner wasn't actually out.
Well,
Well, he was.
Well, he was, because he edged it and,
And he was
got
given
caught.
out on review.
Well, I do believe that Fox, as an organisation, is kind of well known for fake news.
Well, yeah.
Endo, you're endangering your job, not mine. I mean,
No one listens to me. Don't worry about it. Broad in to complete the over full and nicely met by Labuschagne as he comes forward, defended up to mid-off, and that is the end of the over, 64 for 2. Any more tweets?
Andrew Mark Smith says, for all things that are good in this world, please put a mic in your green room.
Well, you do know the way to hear about the green room is to actually pay for our Gorilla experience, which is 180 quid, and not only do you get wonderful things like champagne, well, okay, cheap plonk, you get a jingle made by one of our jinglers, and you get a T-shirt as well, which is a wonderful thing. But you might have to wait a while for your T-shirt. Chris the Choir took advantage of our Gorilla experience about 3 months ago, and has only just got his T-shirt by coming in to claim it himself. Yeah, you can get that, and you will be able to hear what goes on in the green room. But of course, what goes on in the green room
stays in the green room.
Stays in the green room.
stays in the green room.
Absolutely. Yeah, you have to sign an affidavit.
GC.
Yeah.
Is it an affidavit?
I tell you what, the compliance is a nightmare, isn't it? The things we've signed.
An NDA? Would it be an NDA?
Oh, six or 7.
Okay. Archer starts new over to bowl to Smith. He bowls him a bouncer. He just leans forward and allows that to pass over his coccyx.
It's an NO2. You're not allowed to breathe without permission in the
NO2. It may be, of course, the Official Secrets Act.
Yes.
Yeah, I think
Yes.
probably.
There's only one way to find out, listener. Buy the
Indeed.
Gorilla Experience.
Buy it. Get it.
When I say that, we haven't really got any Gorilla experiences going for the time being because we're going to be off air for a while at the end of this test because there's just no cricket.
There's no cricket.
There's
There's
no
no
bloody
cricket.
There is India-South Africa, which we thought about doing if we'd got some sponsorship, which we didn't. Archer comes in, bowls outside the off stump, left alone. But you will be able to hear it on Gorilla Cricket South Africa. They'll be getting up at a ridiculous. Well, it won't be so ridiculous for them.
Yeah.
It'll be
Yeah.
about it'll be about 5 o'clock in the morning for them, 6 o'clock in the morning. Whereas for us, it'll be much worse.
Pathetic.
Poor, they are poor. I have been brought a note, and the note says, oh, this is fascinating. Arthur Wood, who composed the Archers theme tune, we just found that. He shares his name with 1 Test cricketer and 3 first-class cricketers.
Yeah, I thought that was a question. Then I realised obviously they're all called Arthur Wood, aren't they?
Arthur Wood, indeed.
Yeah, not who are they?
This is defended by Smith up to mid-on, and there is no run. So let's find out about those Arthur Woods.
Yeah, I'll have a look.
Let's have a look at
at these Arthur Woods.
the Arthur Woods, and let's find out more about them.
If the Twitter sphere can help as well.
Yeah, they could help.
Yeah.
They could help. We don't want to be all looking for the same Arthur Wood.
No.
So choose your
So,
Arthur Wood.
Yeah, choose an Arthur Wood and get looking.
AN Arthur Wood. In comes Archer, sweating in the heat, and as ever, Smith goes across his stumps, looking like if he misses this, he'll get LBW. But of course, he never misses, and he flicks it away through mid-wicket for another single.
But once again, England on the fielder there, so he gets a single.
Indeed, and that will make the bear absolutely incandescent. The lack of a mid-wicket. It drives him absolutely crazy. You don't want to drive the bear crazy.
But to be fair, though, it's a very valid point, because if you stop Steve Smith scoring in one of the places he scores all of his runs, then he start a bit more frustrated.
My feeling is that he can actually turn it wherever he wants to.
Fair.
He's that good.
Yeah.
Archer in again, and quite full, jabbing down at the last moment. Labuschagne. He's a very solid batsman, he really is. And the ball runs out into the cover. There is no run.
Yeah, Old Fard at play says, has Steve Smith evolved 2 eyes in his nostrils? This may explain his immaculate timing just underneath his nose and his pig-like snout.
He's probably got eyes everywhere.
He has got eyes everywhere.
Sort of where about his belly button is. He's probably got some eyes down there. That would explain a lot, wouldn't it? When you say he's got a good eye, he's actually got a good 6 eyes. Archer in again to Labuschagne. Labuschagne leaves a ball rising from outside off stump through to Bairstow, and that is the end of another Archer over. He's bowled 9 and taken 2 for 13.
What did you think of the team? Because I was saying before, I was quite annoyed there wasn't too many changes made. I would have went the total other way and made a lot of changes.
Well, my personal feeling was that I thought it was odd that they named an unchanged side.
Yeah, and then when Curran's playing.
Well, it wasn't so much that. What I thought it was odd that they would name the same team and then leave Roy out.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
I mean, if you've decided he's not got a test career, at least in the short term, then you get him out straight away, don't you? You give someone else a chance.
Because he's not going to play in the next series, is he?
I would be surprised. I mean, the other thing is, I wonder whether they just couldn't be asked, because there was a well, I'll tell you why.
Pence heavy.
Pence heavy. Oh, do we have to change names? Partly because there was a round of county championship matches this week, starting on Monday, was it, or Sunday? I think it was possibly Sunday.
Yeah.
And perhaps they just didn't want to mess them around again. But I mean, we've had so many situations where players have been pulled out of games and raced to other places.
Yeah, thrown around.
It seems unlikely that was the reasoning. Broad starts a new over outside the off stump. Smith up on his toes, forces, wonderful shot, square of the man at cover point, all the way to the boundary, speeding as it goes. 4 runs. I would have quite liked to have seen Ollie Pope. I mean,
it's on his home ground. He's in absolutely fantastic form at the moment.
Yeah, and I
good wicket as well.
Stick him in, yeah.
And I think actually he did okay in the positions that he came in and batted last year. As someone said, he'd never batted above 6 in his life, and was asked to bat at 4 in the test.
Exactly,
so many England batsmen who come into the side, he was batted completely out of position.
Yeah, and I mean, we've seen situations in the past with England where a guy has come into the team and batted about 6, even though he's an opening bat. Driven by Smith, it was right up there. And he's annoyed that he didn't get his placement right there. Hit it straight to Archer at extra cover. So you've had players that have come in, and in county cricket they may open the batting, but they've started in the test team because until recently, let's say the last 3 or 4 years, we had okay openers.
Yeah.
We were quite happy with Strauss. We were quite happy with Cook. We didn't always have 2 brilliant ones together, and so they would bat further down the order, and they would gradually move up as their career developed. But you're throwing people into positions that they're unaccustomed to. Broad in again, and a lovely, fluent, effortless drive by Smith, who's again annoyed with himself because he's hit it straight to Archer. So he feels like he's missed out on he's hit 1 4, but he's missed out on a couple more in this over.
He's entered in the cheat codes. He's entered God mode.
He has.
He's just like, I've got 19 or 46. I'm bored. Yeah.
Well, I suppose that's the only thing that could get him out if he got bored, but he doesn't get bored, does he? Unlike
he doesn't get bored.
So many of our players.
But as we say, he doesn't get bored because he doesn't like watch cricket.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be. I mean, maybe he's just really antisocial and doesn't like having to sit in the
sit with the lads. Sit with Warner.
Yeah. Turn towards mid wicket this one, which was a little bit shorter from Broad.
Maybe what we need to do is find out what sport he does like, and then schedule a test match during the biggest event of that sport. So, like, if he likes tennis, during Wimbledon, we play a test.
I can't imagine he likes tennis.
I don't think he likes anything.
I think he likes anything.
Yeah, just batting. All he likes
is
to bat.
Did you say when he was like, I treat myself after he got his double century? I treat myself to a bar of dairy milk chocolate.
Living the dream.
God's sake.
The millionaire cricketer's lifestyle.
And then he was like, I didn't even have all of it.
I treat myself to a bar of dairy milk chocolate every 2 hours. What are you talking about? Broad in again, wide of the off stump and left in extravagant fashion by Smith. And through to the keeper. How can you have such self-discipline and denial to only allow yourself a dairy milk chocolate after you've scored?
No, we didn't even have like the full bar either. He said I was saving the rest of it.
Maybe when you don't drink, maybe when you don't eat it, it's like the
What
effect
a
is so
waste.
massive. He was just like
What a
absolutely
waste.
buzzing for hours.
What a waste of dairy milk chocolate. You know, he's probably carrying it around in his bag and it'll be there for sort of 2 years.
It's
now.
melted.
Oh yeah, melted
and like
all the way.
re-solidified itself.
Ugh. 69 for 2, final ball of Broad's 7th over, figures of number 26, herring in once more, but too wide outside the off stump, doesn't tempt Smith, and that is the end of the over. 69 for 2, Labuschagne 41, Smith 19.
Got some cricket news.
Really? On a
yeah,
cricket show?
yeah, I know. Yeah, Sarfraz has been retained as the Pakistan captain.
Really?
And Babar is the vice captain now. That's from Messages.
Well, that's interesting because it's now we have Misbah, don't we, as coach and chief selector.
Yes.
And
he's
he's decided to go with Sarfraz. I'm a bit. Well, we've not been impressed by Sarfraz's captaincy.
No, he was
certainly in Ireland.
exceptionally ordinary in Ireland, I
Yeah,
have to say.
he really was, and has been. He just lets things happen around him.
A lot of quite ordinary captains on the international scene at the
Gee,
moment.
well, Mash, Constangius and all that.
Yeah, yeah.
Well, he's been dropped as captain, hasn't he? Now. of
Well,
the
if you
ODI side.
listen to our podcast,
Oh, were
that's-
you involved?
Yeah, I was involved.
Oh, last night,
Yeah,
sorry,
last
yeah.
night.
Oh, yeah.
Mash has lots of views about the holder and.
Oh, yeah, fair enough, yeah.
Which
now-
I won't spoil, but you've done it already. No, I'm joking, Jack. I'm joking.
Kieran Pollard's been brought in as ODI and T20 captain, despite not having played a game.
Despite
in
not
3 years
playing
or
the World Cup, eh?
In comes Archer. Good ball on the pad. I think that's just outside the line. And they started to appeal, but then realised it was probably not adjacent enough. Possibly there was an inside edge.
I think he
as
must
well.
have hit it because he
Yeah.
pulled out of his appeal.
I thought it was because he got outside the line.
No,
Big inside
no.
edge. Big inside.
I think he
edge.
may have been outside the line anyway, though, Hendo. You're probably right.
Yeah. There wasn't a lot going for it, basically.
No.
That way. We'll put it that way.
But it looks like an ominously good wicket.
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, I think I mean it's an
I
obvious
thought
thing to say.
294 from because everyone was saying bat first. No one understood why Payne put us in.
No, and well, in the end, it's worked out okay. Now this has Labuschagne on the floor as he ducks under a bouncer and actually falls over in doing so. He spent quite a bit of time on his backside when facing Archer in this series, to be fair, but he's also played exceptionally well. And I like him because he reminds me of Plug from the Bash Street Kids. And I think
Oh, yeah.
I never really thought of Plug as an Ashes batsman.
Which one was Plug?
He's
I
the one
remember
with
the
sort
Bash
of-
Street Kids.
Sort of
His only looks like Labuschagne.
yeah, Labuschagne.
Oh right, yeah, thanks.
Big ears and sort of
Thanks.
very toothy
Yeah.
and sort of strange flat cheekbones. Archer again. He talks highly of me though. Bowls and it's right on the line of off stump or just outside in that corridor.
You've been at the Bears.
Defended into the offside.
You've been at the Bears stash. You've got fictional characters talking about you now.
Yes, indeed. The Bears stash. What could that mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, don't do it. It's medicinal. Purely medicinal.
Really
Anyway, Archer just tossing the ball from right to left hand and now charging in. Bowls to Labuschagne. Oh, now that was a good ball, but he's going to get a single nonetheless. He got his bat in front of his pad and steered it to the right of mid-wicket or mid-on and took the single.
Messages says, considering I left England in 1970 at the age of 19, I have been amazed at how familiar the Archer's theme is to me. I've never actually listened to the show, but the theme was always a signal to change stations.
I can't believe it hasn't been sort of, it hasn't. What's the word they use? Syndicated to Australia.
Yeah.
I mean, the
Yeah,
way
6
that
episodes a week apparently. I was.
on the basis that we adopt, rubbish like Neighbours and Home and
Yeah.
Away. I mean, the least you should have to suffer
They
is
suffered the
Archers.
Archers.
Yeah.
Well, what about EastEnders, Phil Mitchell?
Well, at one point there were more people who watched Neighbours in the UK than there were in Australia. Like people in Australia.
Well, we popularised it, I think, didn't we?
Yeah.
I mean, I remember when I was at uni, which was in the sort of mid '80s. It was a big thing then.
I used to watch it as a kid. Total shite. But it's total
Like
shite.
all the soaps.
Yeah.
Beautifully flicked away by Smith. He's timed the pants off that. It's a straight ball, really. So Archer will think, why on earth has that gone for runs? Round comes, I think, Rory Burns to field at long leg. And they get back for 2. Smith goes to 21.
Yep.
I remember having an argument, actually, sort of during our finals with the people that I shared a house with. and I've been watching the Test match all day when it was on free to air, and he came down and I watch Neighbours.
What?
No. They've only a quarter of an hour to go, but I cruelly deprived him of
Deprived
a
him of
And
Neighbours.
the
For his own good. For his
Yeah,
own
exactly,
good.
yeah.
said, go back and revise for your exams.
Or come and watch the cricket.
Or
Oh,
come
back
watch the
upstairs.
cricket, exactly.
And he's the same bloke who's making go and watch Barry Manilow tomorrow. Maybe that's a sort of
Wow, he has a shockingly poor
He
taste.
does. I'll tell him that tomorrow.
Like, does he like anything good?
Archer in bowls outside the off stump. That's shoveled away by Smith up towards mid-off or to the left of mid-off. He's going to come through for
Does
a
he
single.
Does he Angel Delight and wear flares? like what?
Tell him that as well. We're not. It's not. I have to.
Barry Manilow.
I should say we're not purely going to a Barry Manilow concert. That would be too weird. It's it's proms in the park.
Oh,
right,
okay. Oh,
sure.
that's
The
fine.
proms.
Of which
right.
Barry
That's
Manilow is. I'm hoping they'll get there too late to see Barry.
That's fine.
But anyway, Archer then 2 for 17, Broad none for 26, Curran none for 16.
I would assume your mate wouldn't let you miss him because he likes him, doesn't he? So
Well, no, he didn't say he liked him, but he I don't know why. He said to me something about 3 months ago. Do you fancy? Bunch of us really old college
Yeah.
mates. Do you fancy going to proms in the park? And he said, oh, 50
But then
quid.
did he mention Barry Manilow? in
only
there?
later did he mention Barry
okay,
Manilow.
okay.
Anyway,
Guilty pleasure, I think.
very guilty. 73 for 2. Any tweaks?
Yeah, Neymar Butland says almost 6 a.m. in LA. Walking dogs, listen to England versus Smith. Groundhog Day again. Yep. Oh, we've got something that Steve Smith likes. Alice Clark, Commissar, there we go. The Pigster likes rugby league. His team won tonight, their semi-final.
Ah, okay.
So he likes rugby league.
Okay, there we go.
So he likes the worst form of rugby as well.
Broad, that's not right from a northerner. Outside the off stump. left
No,
to left.
rugby. No, don't say northern because rugby league is just played in the entire vicinity of the M62.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's
So-
true. And in London
And
by
in
one
London,
team.
and the Broncos. Yeah,
You're a Geordie, right?
I'm a Geordie,
Yeah,
yeah.
and they play Newcastle. They only Northern rugby team. Union
yeah, the
team, aren't they?
Falcons. Yeah, I mean,
Falcons.
yeah, but they get about 3 people attending because
they really?
well, they put it on the same day as the
football.
Yeah.
football.
Yeah,
so
yeah,
it's
yeah.
like
Yeah.
they finished 4th not last season, season before.
Yes.
Like European got relegated this season. I don't think anyone batted an eyelid. Like either way, like 4th relegated. Who cares?
Broad then in again to Smith. He bowls outside the off stump, and Smith leaves once again. And there is no run.
Just got a list of David Warner's scores in the Ashes here: 2, 8, 3, 5, 61, 0, 0, 0, 5.
It's not even a good lottery ticket.
No.
No, it's terrible.
Or phone number.
Or even a phone number.
Yeah.
Exactly.
It's just shit.
Yeah. Actually, isn't it 143 million on the Euro Millions tonight? Bear,
I mean,
go
if
and
it-
buy a Euro Millions ticket.
If those turn out to be the winning numbers, we'll be kicking ourselves.
well,
well,
I know.
we will. That's a very clever way of him hinting at
Yeah.
that the Warner's done
To
there.
be
isn't it?
even more of a bastard.
Incredible. Broad in full, but beautifully driven.
Yeah, I know.
Beautifully driven from Smith, who basically hangs on the
He-
back foot to play that, doesn't he?
He tried these
He's
half
drove them
volleys.
brilliantly all at the fielder, so you think soon he's going to get it
Yes.
totally right, and it's going to be flying to the
It
boundary.
was
Of
actually
it.
quite a good ball because it swung in a little bit, but he's got square on, and then he plays with no real foot movement. But he must watch it so late.
Yeah.
He plays those sort of back foot West Indian
Yes.
style drives to half volleys, which
Yes.
is just unbelievable.
Yeah. You know you're in good form when you can do that. Broad in bowls. And that just
That's
nibbles back, but it's left. And it doesn't nibble back to nip off the off bail. Now Smith is annoyed about someone moving behind the bowler's arm. He's shaking his head and just
Keep moving, whoever you are.
Yeah.
Yes.
Fire a flare off during the next delivery.
Oh no, I did see someone tweeted in, was it? Or maybe it's just a tweet that went through about a way to get that was it. Tie up your shoelaces a lot. Stop and tie up your shoelaces. That will upset his rhythm.
But he'll get out. He has to walk out to bat, so he'll notice that before he takes guard, won't he?
Oh no,
That's
but every time you come into bowl, you just have to stop and do your
Oh.
shoelaces up. He aims a rather extravagant back foot drive to that one, but again he doesn't completely time it. It hits it straight to Jason Roy, who is on the field. I'm not sure for whom. And
I just
he's
don't
injured
get. I
himself.
just don't get his
Must be
jumper.
Stokes.
Why is his jumper like? Can you look at a
Why are
clean
you
white
wearing-
jumper?
Well,
He's just
I was saying
covered
this in the last test. I couldn't believe the
Disgraceful
marks
lowering
on
of
the final-
standards.
on the
Disgraceful.
final morning. I mean, you'd have thought he'd have had a wash.
Exactly.
But that said, why is he wearing a jumper on a day
I
where
know. It's what's 22, something
it
like
looks
that.
pretty warm out there?
I'm in short.
Maybe there's a bit. Yeah, you are. Maybe there's a wind blowing across the oval. In comes Broad again. Ball's full, and he plays that drive
what a
kind of off the back foot with an extravagant follow through, really, and it's raced away to the cover boundary for 4.
I mean,
Yeah.
what did you say, really, apart from just in the most unbelievable form I think I've ever seen a batsman?
It is extraordinary.
It's ridiculous, isn't it? He's-
No one moved in the field. No one moved.
No.
Well, I just think that Broad he's not getting his length right at the moment, is he? He's bowled a few half volleys in the last couple of overs.
Yeah, he's going at, well,
He's almost going at 4 and over.
Yeah.
Isn't he? Yeah.
Where is Walks? Why has he not
Denley is
come
back on for
Ah,
Roy.
Denley has.
Denley's arrived.
The child has been blessed, and Joe Denley is out there. 77 for 2. Australia trail by 217. They lost 2 early wickets, but that is pretty much par for the course in this Ashes series. And of course, Labuschagne and Smith have brought Australia back into the game. Archer will continue. He's bowled 3 overs in this spell to go with 7 in his first spell. Figures of 2 for 17. Can he wheedle out Labuschagne? He's in, bowls, and no, not this time. Defends back to the bowler, and in fact that defensive shot made it clear to me who exactly Labuschagne reminds me of, and it is Jack Callis. Beautiful. That's exactly how he used to defend. Very solid. Made himself look very wide. Made his bat look very wide. Shane Warne is getting
It's his birthday.
Wouldn't you just love him to thrash that into his face? Go on, do it! Onto the back foot, Labuschagne defends up to mid-on.
You can sort of imagine Ian Botham pushing his face into it, couldn't you?
Yeah.
But you
You
can't
could.
actually imagine. I mean, Shane Warne. I mean, Shane Warne is not going to eat that. Is
He's
he?
not
'Cause, I
going to.
mean,
He's still not going to eat the whole thing.
I'm
is
not
he?
sure if he can eat solids anymore. Like, he's had so much work done. You might
mouth-
disagree with him.
his mouth doesn't move that much. To
He's like
allow
Data.
entry.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, he's a very slim man these days, isn't he? So he's not going to take. He's probably going to share that around a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, back in the day, that would have been all
Back in the
his.
day, that would have probably gone by now. And shoveled in.
Just inhaled it.
Indeed. Archer with the bling rocking around his neck. Now, all this time, Labuschagne wanted to turn that onto the onside, but a little bit front on, and ended up pushing it back to the bowler. That must affect you having that much bling round your neck as you're
I
running.
know,
that,
it must
mustn't
be. But I mean, but Chris Jordan does it as well, doesn't he?
Do you think it sort of helps him keep his balance?
No, he's just showing off.
You don't think he just like fall over to
Yeah.
one
He's just,
side?
he's
if
just
he-
showing
It's
off.
just loaded.
Yeah, exactly.
Absolutely.
He wears that massive watch, like.
Do you think
the
it's-
gold
Yeah.
one?
Do you think it's
Well,
actually
I
good
so.
stuff, or do you think it's actually, pretty cheap?
Oh, I wouldn't
I
know, to
think-
be honest.
He's in again, bowls to Labuschagne. Labuschagne leaves it. Can you see what I mean about Callis there? That sort of slightly widened sort of stance. He looks very good and very solid.
Yeah, there's worse players to be.
Yeah.
To be compared with, absolutely. I mean,
compared to,
compared with
isn't
Just what we need. Jack Callis batting with Stephen Smith. Bendo, thanks.
one of the best all-rounders of all time. Yes, that's
Well, he got a wicket in the last.
well, that's true. Yeah, that's true.
So, you know.
Now, those 2 ducks that were there this morning have now become 4 ducks, so there must have been some activity going on there this morning. Very quick breeding cycle. Archer in, again, short, and now that worries Labuschagne a little bit, and it seems to have hurt his bottom hand, which he shakes, and now has gone to the edge of the crease and is kneeling down. I think he's going to inspect. Maybe it was his arm that caught. No, it's his right hand. He's just shaking that, but that must have sent some reverberations through his bones. But very good ball rising on him, rising higher than
Oh, it's his
expected.
elbow, I
It's his
think.
elbow, I
Is
think.
it
Yeah.
elbow?
Yeah, I think it went under the bat. I thought it came off the handle of the bat. But
Well, the elbow can be an awful place to get hit, can't it?
Yeah.
Well, especially at 90 mile.
Yeah.
Shot for Archer ball.
I don't think I want to be hit anywhere
No.
by Jofra Archer.
Well, we're going to have a little break because there's still 1 ball to go in the over, but he's receiving some treatment. It looks like the wrist, actually.
Does that his wrist?
Yeah.
It
And now
did-
he's feeling his elbow.
Yeah.
and
He's
sort of-
dead, Jim.
He's just. Yeah, I mean, it could actually completely numb your arm, that, couldn't it? And you obviously.
Yeah. Oh.
You obviously can't bat immediately with that, in that sort of pain. You can't even feel. Probably
Nasty,
can't even
that.
feel the bat when you've been hit like
Oof.
that.
I think it's funny ball now.
Yeah, well, the funny bone is
Yeah.
probably about the worst
It
place to
probably
be
is.
hit. It's horrendous, the funny bone, and to be hit at that speed by that hard an object.
Yeah. Not great.
Very
Not
nasty
great.
indeed.
Don't know why. I don't know why it's called the funny bone, because it's not very nice.
Because
is it?
you end up sort of laughing in a sort of horribly painful way, don't you? Any tweets?
Sorry. We've got Mog. I'm not sure if anyone else has noticed, but Smith is so very fucking bland when he talks, not a spark of personality to be had. And then Roger Melly says, did you guys hear that Jeffrey has been knighted? Just have one question. Why? Perhaps it was for services to fuck Wittery.
I think it was services to Jeffrey Boycott.
Yeah.
I think that's obviously why he got given the knighthood.
Yeah, the first man to give himself an honour.
Well, he kind of did, because he's moaned for years, hasn't he, about the fact that Viv Richards got one before him.
Yeah.
But there you go. We probably shouldn't go deeply into that.
No.
You can read all about
Yeah,
it in the Guardian if you want to
Yes.
on their front page. We're looking at Labuschagne's scoring areas. He's more leg side, isn't he? Yeah, 66%. But he's very good off his legs. And now for some reason we're looking at
Pat Cummins.
Pat Cummins bowling to Joe Denley
Yeah.
and being caught at about the 15th attempt by Steve Smith.
Yeah, I was hopefully dropping, but you know.
No,
that's what it is,
unfortunately
isn't it?
not.
No.
Unfortunately not.
Is that when Root yesterday got dropped 3 times? Oh, he's going to get a big score here now. No.
Well, that's the difference. I think
No.
that's the difference, isn't it? None of our players have been able, even in circumstances like that, to go on.
No.
And if ever you're going to get a big score, it's got to be when you've been dropped 3 times.
I thought Root got a pretty good delivery though.
Oh, he got a
yesterday.
good
You know,
delivery.
he definitely did, yeah.
Yeah, definitely. And he has sort of attracted good deliveries, hasn't he?
Yeah, that
this
is the
summer.
thing though. When you're slightly out of nick, you do
Yeah.
attract better deliveries.
But the Aussie bowlers have bowled.
Well, they probably bowled more better balls.
They've bowled more better balls, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's what, exactly.
Certainly too good for some of our batsmen.
So Labuschagne will be unfortunately able to continue. Yes, 'cause I thought we were getting somewhere there.
Yeah, no, Mitch Marsh coming in.
Yeah.
Have we got a third commentator coming in, or is it just a 2-man show? Who've you got? Chris. Okay, we'll
Chris.
just get Will on as well
Yeah.
in a little while. But Chris has only done one so far, hasn't he? I think. In comes Archer, final ball of the over, and onto the back foot, showing no signs of any hangover from that particular blow. It's played well by Labuschagne, who blows a bubble to celebrate. End of the over, 77 for 2. Time for a change.
Yep, you owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills, so please go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/Gorilla Cricket.
Partnership is 63 put onto the third wicket by Stephen Smith and Marnus Labuschagne. Australia 77 for 2, still trailing by 217. You're listening to Gorilla Cricket's coverage of the 2019 Men's Ashes. You join us half an hour into the second session of day 2 of the 5th Test match at the Oval. Australia lead the series 2-1. England were put into bat and were bowled up for 294. Australia, as I say, 77 for 2, trailing by 217, by 217. And we do have a change of bowling.
This man.
He's on Instagram, and he's a Twitter fan. On the Ashes tour, not Ben Stokes, but he'll have to do.
They'll be bowling from the pavilion end. We have 2 slips and a gully. A man at cover, man at mid-off, man at mid-on. A man gone into mid-wicket from point to their left point open. A man at square leg. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. And presumably a man back at long leg as well, unless someone's gone onto the deep point boundary. So Wokes is going to look to bowl very straight at Steve Smith, which to me indicates that they've already, on 26, stopped trying to get him out. As Smith resets his guard and swipes at a fly, I think, with his hand. He seems to be being bothered by something flying. Nope, still gone. Still there. Nope, now he's all right. Yes, he is. Checks his gloves. Checks both pads. Checks his thigh pad. Back into his stance. In comes Christopher Roger Wokes. Right arm over the wicket from the pavilion end. Does go straight. A little bit of nibble off the seam, and Smith is sort of squared up by it, but blocks off most of the middle of the bat. Back to the bowler. There is no run. I'm Knuckle Mpande, taking you through the next half an hour on Ball About Ball. I'm joined to my right by Nigel the Bear Walker, playing your jingles.
Afternoon.
And to my left, reading your tweets and your Facebook messages and YouTube messages, which I think we have quite a few of, is Chris the Choir. What is your actual surname?
Barlow,
Chris the Choir Barlow. There we go.
like Eddie.
Or Christ He Choir, as you were once known by some tweet readers. That's like a delivery from Chris Wokes, a full delivery on off stump. Smith defends up to mid-off. There is no run. Wokes has got to be a little bit careful with this line, given that he's got no protection at all in the point region, so he's got to be pretty tight to off stump and make sure that he doesn't drop too short either.
We have 14 entries in GPL today. All the way from 177 up to 345.
Yeah, covering the spread. We'll see how that goes when we reach the end of the day. That one's down the leg side from Chris Wokes. Smith walks across outside, off stump, tries to clip down to long leg or fine leg. Misses through to be Johnny Bairstow. There is no real swing from Chris Wokes.
No, it's a lovely day, isn't it? It's quite dry weather today as well. The sun is out. I don't think there's going to be a lot of movement.
Yeah.
It's a good day for batting.
Well, Curran got the odd one to come into the right-hander, and I think got one ball to go away as well, but certainly nothing like we saw from Mitchell Marsh, who was getting the ball to swing throughout his bowling effort in England's first innings. This is a link delivery, which Smith walks across to off-stump to defend to mid-on. There is no run.
I wonder how long before Jack Leach gets his first bowl of the game.
Yeah, I was thinking that. We did see a little bit of turn from Nathan Lyon in the 4 overs he bowled. I think he didn't bowl that much. I think he's still suffering with the effects of that tear to his spinning finger that he suffered at Old Trafford, which is something that spinners like Benno and Warne have talked about a lot as being a problem, which is perhaps why Mitchell Marsh bowled quite such a long spell. This is again down the leg side from Wokes. Smith again misses out on nudging this to fine leg for 4. There is no run, so Smith doesn't miss straight balls, but he will miss balls way down the leg side.
Maybe he'll get a tickle. Maybe they're going for a strangle.
Maybe.
If you're doing that, you should probably have a leg slip in as well.
Yeah, possibly. Or maybe the leg stump Yorker, the type that Andrew Flintoff bowled to Brian Lara when he was walking across his stumps back in 2003 or 2004 or so. Yeah, I was a bit surprised that Leach didn't bowl the last over before lunch. Wokes is in, last ball of the over is short and wide outside off stump. Smith could have thought about playing that through point, but didn't. Left alone through to the keeper. There is no run. A maiden for Chris Wokes. Smith on 26, Labuschagne on 42, Australia 77 for 2.
And tweets from Spicy Golden Duck saying, "Good afternoon, Gorillas. Health permitting, we'll be visiting New Zealand in November.
Lovely.
Nice.
I've just bought a GC hoodie to keep me warm at the test.
Well done.
Can the Gorillas recommend any places to visit, particularly around Auckland or Tauranga?"
I've never been to New Zealand.
Taranga's on the Bay of Plenty, so that's where the first test is taking place in Mount Maunganui. I've not been to that part. I've been to Auckland. One Tree Hill Park is very nice. There's a lovely views over Auckland, and there's lots of nice sort of craft beer bars along the harbour.
This is where we want the input from the likes of Kiwi Cali.
Yeah, and other New Zealanders or people who are more familiar with New Zealand than I am. I've not been there for a little while, and it wasn't for very long. Archer's going to continue from the Vauxhall end, 2 for 17 off his 11 overs, bowling to Marnus Labuschagne. He's in good delivery, tight to sort of a 4th stump line, and Labuschagne's in behind this one, blocking back to the bowler. There is no run. I think he can regain some control and stop Smith and Labuschagne scoring quite as freely as they were before lunch, then that is a minor point in their favour.
Just need to open up, prise one of these ends open, don't they? And ideally it'd be Smith's end. I mean, I went under, the line for Smith's runs is 52.5, which is slightly under what his test average is. But he hasn't had a failure yet.
Archer in past Erasmus, back of a length. Labuschagne nudges this into the leg side. The man from sort of squarish mid-wicket comes into field, and there is no run. And seeing that when Archer has bowled it a little bit back of a length and got that bounce, or even shorter with the bouncer, he hasn't been scored off yet. He's not been scored off particularly quickly when he's pitched it up a bit more, but Archer is out getting a little bit of bounce out of this surface, which has some bounce, a little bit tennis ball bouncy, but bounce nonetheless. 11.2 over 6 maidens, 2 for 17, so very good from Archer. He's in. An edge from Labuschagne, but definitely more control than that might suggest. Took the bottom hand off the bat, angled it down, and it beat Rory Burns at 4th slip, and down to the 3rd man boundary it goes for 4. Yeah, very well controlled. No chance of a catch for Rory Burns. Labuschagne moves to 46.
Another 50 beckons for him. That'll be his 5th in a row, won't it?
No, there was a failure in.
Oh yeah, he got 11.
He got 11 in the second innings at Old Trafford, but it would be his fifth 50 of the series.
Which is basically at 50 every innings apart from that 11.
Yeah, pretty good. Archer in, outside off stump. Labuschagne with those low hands of his defends to cover. There is no run. There's a little bit of Rahul Dravid in his defensive technique, Manas Labuschagne. He keeps his hands very low and his head is right over the ball.
Yeah, it's kind of minimal movement. He doesn't really move around a lot, but he gets in line.
Yeah, he goes back and across.
Yeah.
In a sort of old-fashioned way almost. There's not a massive stride to the ball. Smith gets a bigger stride, I think, when he's playing through the offside than Labuschagne does. His feet are fairly close together at all times. A little bit of Atherton too in that, I think, in his very upright manner at the crease. That's a good bouncer from Jofra Archer, and Labuschagne forced into a slightly uncomfortable position. Was, I think, trying to flail at it rather than duck out of the way. Passes over his shoulder through to the keeper. There is no run. That one hurried Labuschagne, certainly.
It did. It was nearly 90 miles an hour. I think 9 point something.
Yeah, it did well enough to get his hands out of the way, but Archer, again, showing that there is some life in this pitch for the quicker bowlers.
It takes a bit of effort, doesn't it, though?
Yep. And we'll see if he can get one up into the armpit region. There isn't a short leg in place for that one that does come up off the glove. Archer in. Last ball of the over is outside off stump, and Labuschagne leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run. Good controlled stuff from England in the last couple of overs. Just the 4 down to third man off the thick outside edge in the last couple of overs. Australia 81 for 2.
A little tweet from Sir Sand Goblin under the handle of Government Respecter, who says, time to put on Guerrilla Cricket. Well, that's any time, because
yes, indeed.
There's Guerrilla Cricket is always on, replays or live. Jeff Perkins has sent us one of his fabulous lyrics set to the music of Barry Manilow. His name was Hendo. He was a showboy. He hoped one day to be a toy boy. He would eat pastries and bars of chocolate, and while he liked to schmooze and mingle, Tony always tended jingles. Across a crowded season, lost their sanity and reason. They were senior and forgetful, but still found the cricket pleasing. And there's more.
Quite scant, the verse of Copacabana, still very impressive.
His name was Hendo. Exactly.
Wokes in, right arm over the wicket past the umpire. Kumar Dharmasena strays onto the pads of Stephen Smith, who of course clips it off the middle of the bat, but 2 square leg, there is no run. Yeah, they put the mid wicket in place.
And not only that, they got the man just behind square leg.
They do. As I said, trying to restrict Smith's scoring rather than get him out.
Well, I think that's not a bad ploy to go. If you restrict his scoring, he's got to look to do something else. Take him out of his comfort zone. That's part of it, isn't it?
Yeah, this is the field that Chris Wokes set from the start of his last over. They've taken point out basically and put him at mid-wicket.
Yeah.
And moved square leg behind square. It does mean that Chris Wokes has a slightly can't really go too far outside off stump. That's about as far as he can go. That was on 5th stump. It was back of a length. And Smith is in behind this one.
5th stump's
blocking
far
up
enough.
to mid-off. There is no run.
And as long as he keeps it reasonably full, he shouldn't be getting driven through there.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Smith could stay leg side of the ball, I guess, and open the face to get it through point, but maybe that's what they're trying to get him to do.
Well, precisely. And try and get him to make a mistake then. If it's too close to him and he does that, then maybe he'll nick it through. I guess that's the plan.
Wokes in, back of a length, and Smith blocks it to mid-wicket off the back foot. There is no run. People go ooh every time you bowl straight at C. Smith, but he always hits it.
I know. It doesn't stop me from going ooh, it's just a reaction. It's like Pavlov's dog or whatever.
Messi Jez loves Perko's genius, as usual. Jonah tells us that Smith qualifies for a UK passport.
That's true. His mother's English.
Oh, really?
At 17, he played village cricket for a team in Cheshire called Grappenhall.
He played for Sevenoaks. He played club cricket in Kent for a little while. 4th ball of the over. A good delivery from Chris Wokes. Foolish and swinging a little bit away. Very gentle, though, and Smith blocks back to the bowler. There is no run. But, Australia realised they had a talent on their hand and gave him a rookie contract to make sure that he wasn't poached by a county. Because I think Surrey and Kent both wanted him.
Damn.
And Jonah also says, couldn't happen to a nicer bloke. David Warner, the first opener to get out for a single-digit score 8 times in a test series.
Yeah, we had that stat before lunch, breaking a record set by Anshuman Gaikwad in 1983 for India against the West Indies, and Michael Atherton in the 1997 Ashes. The record for any one in batting in any position is 9 single-figure scores in one series. So history of a sort for David Warner outside off stump as a crow flies towards the pavilion. Smith blocks it outside off stump.
Presumably that
back to the bowler.
person
There is no
wasn't
run.
an opener then.
Well, it's shared by 4.
Okay.
So Rodney Hogg
Okay.
batted lower down the order.
Jimmy Anderson?
No, it is.
Because he had the record for not being out for a duck.
Yeah, the most consecutive non-ducks, if that makes.
I was going to say Chris Martin, but then he probably didn't bat 9 times in a series.
Last ball of the over from Wokes is a shorter ball, which is easily ducked out of the way of by Stephen Smith through to the keeper. There is no run. Australia 81 for 2. Yeah, Rodney Hogg, Alan Hurst, who batted down the order, Shane Warne for Australia, and Mohammad Shami of India, who is very much a tail ender.
Oh, well, there you go.
But yeah, obviously it implies a longer series. At least 4 tests. Well, 5 tests, in fact, if it's 9. Yeah, I don't think Chris Martin ever played a series that long because New Zealand don't get to play enough Test cricket.
Well, presumably then, if he gets out, he will equal that.
He will.
Gets out next
He will.
innings with us.
Jeff's asking if Knackle went to Auckland or Auckland.
Oh, I see. No, I didn't get to go to the site of Hobbiton. We drove past it, didn't get to go because I wasn't in charge of the route. Archer continuing after lunch, now bowling his 6th over. He's in from the Vauxhall then, past umpire Erasmus. Beats Labuschagne a little bit, crapping him on the crease, but off the inside part of the bat, it squirts into the leg side. Labuschagne comes through for 2. While Marnus Labuschagne is also very strong off his pads, he does occasionally get his head outside the line of the ball, which means that his head slightly falls over and he can miss those on the inside edge, and he almost did so on that occasion. Little inside edge onto the pad. Would have been a massive shout if that hadn't taken the inside edge.
Absolutely.
Evil Scooters, responding to something previously, said, "Yup, I know, I corrected myself immediately. You just didn't read it." And then went on to say, "Frankly, given how often I'm watching..."
Oh, that's a massive LBW shout and given by umpire Erasmus. That's fuller and straighter. Marnus Labuschagne again trying to work to leg again. For once, his head slightly falls outside the line. I can't believe they're thinking about reviewing this. That looked as though it hit him in front of middle and off. Very full. I think Smith is telling Labuschagne not to review, and quite right. Labuschagne desperately, you're right, wanted to review it. Smith said no. Jofra Archer has all 3 wickets to fall. Labuschagne gone for 48. Australia 83 for 3.
Come on.
I won't look back, 'cause by the time that I do, you'll be gone.
Fuller, straighter, tiny hint of movement perhaps, but I think just done for pace.
Absolutely, I think it was just that too full. He couldn't get his bat down in time that time, could he? The ball was a little bit shorter, and he got the tiniest of inside edges onto his pads. And that time he couldn't get his bat round in time and just pinged it. Well, it was only about shin high, wasn't it?
Yeah, crashing into middle, I think. Beautiful stuff from Jofra Archer. 12.2 overs, 6 maidens, 3 for 23.
I think Smith was saying, "You're not Shane Watson, you can't review that."
There's no excuse. But I want to stay out here longer. No, mate, it's time to go back.
As I was saying, Evil Scooters saying, "Given how often I'm watching, listening to multiple sports simultaneously when tweeting you folks, I'm amazed it doesn't happen more often. I assume, Scott, that you're watching the Vuelta de España as a great cycling fan."
That's going quite. I suppose it'll still be sunny and hot out there as well, won't it?
Yeah, it's bloody hot in Spain
I
in
can imagine.
this time of year. Well, that brings Australia's number 5 to the middle. It is the man who made 100 in the first set of the series and has kept his place with some dogged support of Steve Smith throughout, and Travis Head being a little bit worse.
He ain't heavy.
Thumping into the top of the leg stump, that LBW shout that we just saw a dismissal of Labuschagne. Smith was absolutely correct to talk Labuschagne out of reviewing. It's been a very, very good couple of spells from Jofra Archer, both before and after lunch. 7 overs in the first session and into his 7th in this session. Sorry, into his 6th in this session.
Well, we got to 170 before we were 3 down. We didn't have Smith, admittedly, but, you know.
Yeah. Round the wicket, Archer is to the left-handed Matthew Wade. 2 slips on the gully and a leg gully in place. Backward point, mid-off, mid-on, mid-wicket and long leg. Archer in, fullish delivery, quick, and Wade jabs down on it at the last minute. Back to the bowler, there is no run.
Well, he didn't get that.
Be tempted to get Broad on at the other end now to bowl to the Matthew Wade.
Oh, I thought little nip backers from Wokes might do the
He
trick.
bowls so well against left-handers, Stuart Broad.
Yeah, that's true. He only bowled 3 overs after lunch, didn't he, as well? So he should be reasonably fresh.
Archer also has done well round the wicket to the left-handers in this series, and Matthew Wade is a left-hander. Archer in round the wicket and bowls foolish delivery. Wade plays slightly inside out, but gets most of the bat on it, and with Stewart brought at mid-off quite wide, it is a long chase from the man at mid-on, who is Jack Leach, and they come through for 3. Good running by Wade and Smith. Matthew Wade off the mark. Australia 86 for 3. Smith had to dive at the non-striker's end, not at the striker's end. Not really sure that he was in any danger, really, but he dived anyway. He's back on strike on 26.
What happened there?
The throw came in. It was a good throw from Jack Leach. I think Smith thought the throw was coming to his end, and I think he would have been fine anyway.
I think it would have been well in. That's quite amusing, though. Has he winded himself at the same time?
Well, you can see a massive puff of dust. I think the ground is pretty dry and quite hard. It's kind of more like we're used to seeing the Oval, rather than the slightly sort of
Bairstow
not
enjoyed it.
not muddy exactly, but slightly softer surface that we saw yesterday. Johnny Bairstow did indeed enjoy Steve Smith flying through a cloud of dust. Eat my dust, says Steve Smith. Archer bowling to Steve Smith. Presumably he'll come back over the wicket to the right-hander. He does, very close to the stumps. It's too straight, though, and Stephen Smith will say thank you very much for that. All day, all month, all year. Clips away to the square leg boundary for 4.
It's me, and she. It's me, and she.
Not a great ball to most batsmen. A really, really not great ball to Steve Smith. Almost a leg stump half volley.
Yeah, he just clipped that nicely away.
It's the first ball he's bowled after lunch, Jofra Archer. And a little bit of pressure released on Steve Smith, having lost Labuschagne. Better from Archer, back of a length, and hurrying Smith outside off stump. I think it might have just hit the bottom glove as he withdrew his hand. The bat drops down into the offside. Successful over from Jofra Archer, 3 for 30 off his 13 overs. Australia 90 for 3.
And tweets, Evil Scooters again retweeting Jim Maxwell saying Stephen Smith's last duck was for Easts at Waverley in November, playing for Sutherland. Strangled leg side off Harry Conway. Dinah Patterson, I think this is addressed to me. We could use some nice choric jingles.
We have a few choral jingles, not very many.
I was going to say, I assume that is choral as meant by choric.
Choric sounds like a style of architecture or something, a choric column.
Yes. Vector Victoria says, I was in Australia at the weekend and every Aussie cricket fan I met thought Warner was a tosser, but they all rated Smith.
It's pretty hard not to rate Smith, given that he is the greatest batsman of the modern era in Test cricket. And Warner's a really interesting sort of character. He seems to have these two modes where sometimes he just his demons get the better of him a little bit, and he does and says things that are really stupid. Wokes it is going to continue. Bowls across Matthew Wade. A little hint of gentle shape, but nothing really to trouble Wade. Leaves alone. Through to the keeper there is no run. He did a really good job advocating for the players when that last contract renewal was happening a couple of years ago. And possibly that's made him quite unpopular with the board. But I think he stood up for his playing brethren and sisterin really well. When Cricket Australia wanted to stiff both the men's and women's teams, and Warner as the players' representative wouldn't allow them to do so.
That's true, isn't it? Yeah, the wages thing, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's right, and percentage of revenues generated by Cricket Australia. Another full delivery, which swings in a little bit. Wade drives, but doesn't quite time it as well as he did the shot that he got off the mark with. Archer comes round to his left from mid-off to field, and there is no run. I don't really know why we're seeing a slow-mo replay of Matthew Wade walking to the middle.
Someone giving some cheer.
Well, the England players all seem to be in a huddle taking a drink.
Yeah.
Maybe they were ignoring him on purpose. It's all very tedious.
He seems like a mouthy man.
Well, yes, he's been a wicketkeeper in his time, so it kind of comes with the territory. Wokes in, shorter delivery, just back of a length, ankling across Matthew Wade. Leaves through to the keeper, there is no run.
Roger Melly is pointing out that in 24 runs, Smith breaks Inzamam ul Haq's record for consecutive 50s against a single opponent. Well, it's 20 runs now, and he says it would be 10 consecutive 50s
against England, yes, that's right.
Well, I've got him under 48.5, haven't I? Which is a bloody large thing to
In comes Wokes, full outside off stump. Lovely shot by Matthew Wade. It was very full as a half volley, but you still got to put it away to the boundary. And with those slips waiting, Matthew Wade had to be perfect, and he was. Opened the face to get it square of cover, 4 runs.
1, 2, 3, 4.
Stephen Smith has also brought up 700 runs in this series, given that he's missed 3 innings. Absolutely extraordinary.
Indeed. That was too full by Wokes, wasn't it? Right up in the slot.
Yeah, Wade played it well. He wasn't trying to boom it through cover. He opened the face to make sure he got it into the gap and was playing with any swing that there was. What'll Wokes come back with after that long half volley? Drags his length back a little bit, and Wade leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run.
Wokes hasn't been on his best this series at all, has he?
Not really. I think he bowled well in the early part of the series and coming out of the Ireland Test match. But no, he's not quite got the ball to move as much as he has done at other times in his career, and he's not quite looked in rhythm, and there's been a definite release of pressure after Broad and Archer.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that's where the series has probably been won by the Australians. Third
and
seamer.
fourth bowler. Yeah. Back of a length a little bit straighter, makes Wade play, and he drops this into the cover region. There is no run, and obviously Smith.
Yeah, of course.
End of the over, Wokes none for 17 off his 5. Australian 94 for 3, trail by precisely 200.
I think one more over in this configuration, and we have a little bit of a swoop change. Whoever's coming in after is going to bring me a beer with them when they come in.
And Leah has tweeted in saying, England's plan is to inflate Smithy's average even more by just getting the 10 other blokes out. Got it.
Oh my God. Bumble as a hippie.
Dallas Nash says, Marnus Labuschagne as plug, and it sends us a picture of the cartoon character or comic character. Are you guys on the magic mushrooms?
That was Nigel Henderson who said that. We do have a change of bowling for Archer out to the attack after his, 7 over spell, I think, 6 over spell after lunch. He got the wicket of Marnus Labuschagne in his last over, and he's out of the attack to be replaced by this man from the Vauxhall end.
Is he a batter or bowler?
Sam Curran.
What's his distinguishing feature?
Sam Curran.
His dad's from Zimbabwe.
Sam Curran.
And he's beloved by Liz Yates.
Sam Curran.
Sam Curran, none for 16 off his 5, has got the ball to move a little bit and had Smith in a tiny bit of trouble. That's a beautiful delivery. Hooping in swinger. Came in very late, and Smith watched it well to dig that out into the leg side. There is no run. That's gone more than any delivery has the entire innings.
So nearly beat his defence, didn't it? Would have been pretty plumb.
Yep, zeroing into the base of middle stump, but he actually got the middle of the bat on it.
Yeah.
Looked like he'd been planning that since lunchtime.
Exactly. First ball, what am I going to do? Really full. Hope it swings in.
Well, he got his wrist perfectly behind the ball there. You could see the seam position was very, very good, pointing towards leg slip. That one doesn't swing. It's a little bit shorter. I guess trying to tempt Smith to go at one after having shown him the big in-swinger first.
Well, that's
first ball. Smith leaves alone through to the keeper. There is no run.
It's going to be a mixture of the both, isn't it? And he's got to get it right.
It's like when a spinner rips one big first ball.
Yeah.
You know, you just show them you got it. Or Shane Warne, when he still had a googly, would always bowl one in the first over to a new batsman.
Just so they know he's there. And if they don't pick it,
yeah. Or if they do pick it and think, oh, is it the googly? Is it the googly? And they play at things they shouldn't be playing at. Clever stuff from Sam Curran. Back of a length this time. Smith walked across outside off stump and plays it wide of Stuart Broad at mid-on, who is the only man saving one on the leg side. I think he's actually beaten to the ball by the man coming around from deep square leg. Smith comes through for 2. Yeah, I mean, it's going to be... I sort of understand the lack of a mid-wicket with Curran bowling this angle, left arm over. Maybe you can move Broad a little bit wider and maybe a little bit closer to the bat, sort of halfway between mid-on and mid-wicket. Smith on 32. Curran receives the ball from one of the fielders who had been shining it. In comes the Demon Boy child. 4th ball of the over. Angry face as he comes in. And again, one that swings. That's a lovely shot, though, by Smith. Just put back to ball and nudges it into the mid-wicket region. Again, deep square leg has to come round to field. They come through for 2.
I do find this really... I mean, look, if you're going to bowl that line, you've got to have a mid-wicket. whether you're playing bluff, double bluff, whatever, it's coming into his pads, and you've left a fucking wide open space. You know he doesn't miss it, and therefore you're just giving him runs.
I mean, certainly, unless he's going to bowl leg stump Yorkers every single ball, which is almost impossible.
Well, exactly. So they're going to come in a length, and the one that goes across him, fair enough, you've got the slip. That's what they're for. They're for the full shot cross that goes to the slips. Everything else is coming into his pads. He's going to work it to leg side.
Could you take cover out and maybe move him to mid-wicket?
Well,
and move mid off a
either
little
way,
wider?
it's got to be covered, for fuck's sake.
Now they have put a mid-wicket in. I'm not sure quite where they took him from, but Smith gets it squarer of the mid-wicket. Archer has to come round from long leg to field, and Smith, I think, has got 3 twos in this over.
Well, is that?
I mean, that time they did put the mid-wicket in, and he put it the other side of him. So
that's true.
So
I would have. I mean, if you're bowling that line, it's fair enough, as you say, having your slips and stuff for the one that goes across. But you're basically saying to him, I'm bowling at your pad, swinging into your pads. You've got to have the square leg and the mid-wicket. You can even get rid of bloody mid-on. He doesn't need to be there, because if it's on a length,
so you move them all round a bit.
Yeah, fuck that.
Last ball of the over. That one does go the other way a little bit, and Smith blocks it to mid-off and then turns 360 for no apparent reason other than possibly just to annoy Sam Curran. Smith on 36, Wade on 7, Australia 100 for 3, trail by 194.
And it's a little bit of a change of route. I'm going to go into do some ball by ball. A little change. Jack and Will are coming in, I believe. Okay.
And the T-Boy says, Labuschagne gone. Well done, Knackle. Assume Smith will start farming the strike. Evil Scooter says, currently the rain in Spain is falling on the peloton. So I think I was right that he's combining watching cricket and cycling. And Messages says, do we know this fellow, in reference to a tweet from somebody called Nigel Henderson. Very disappointed that David Cameron's new memoir is to be called For the Record. No wonder it's selling poorly. Unimaginative and so many options. What's wrong with I did not have sexual relations with that pig? That would fly off the shelves.
That was a good title for a book that Hendo came up with. What was the other one? Beyond the Sphincter, was it?
Yeah, no.
Beyond the Arsehole.
That was about Kevin Pearson.
That's right. Yes.
that was Kevin Pearson's next book. That one.
A biography of KP was Beyond the Arsehole, yeah. Which I liked. But if you change arsehole to sphincter, makes it a little bit more,
I mean, a little bit more, yeah, but yeah.
But yeah.
Well, at least we got Labuschagne out, because I was genuinely expecting us to be just watching them all afternoon.
Well, yes, he did get beaten on the inside of his bat, which you can't say the same for the Pigster. But I do find this, the fielding positions there for that last over are just poor.
Yeah, because Curran's actually doing quite well with the ball there. He's doing okay.
He's bowling it he's getting it to come in. Okay, he doesn't miss many, but he's still got to block off his scoring shots.
Yeah, I agree. I think that, but I don't think England done that well enough. Certainly, Smith, do they not look at the stats and say, well, he scores like these runs? You know what I mean?
He didn't score a single run in his first innings in the last game. That double 100 went through. None of it. Not a single shot went through mid-off.
Well, there you go. So there you go.
He shouldn't be there.
No.
And I had an argument with not an argument, but my suggestion below the line. I mean, everyone below the line on the Guardian articles saying, you're getting Smith out, and everyone had their own things. I mean, my thing is you block off the leg side, and you bowl out his pads and let him play it there all day long, but you try and block off his scoring shots and see if you can get him to manufacture something on the offside and hopefully make a mistake. I mean, he's a quality player, so it may not work, but it hasn't been tried. The plans they have tried, they either haven't tried for long enough, or they've not executed them correctly.
Yeah, I think with Australia certainly bowling to England's batsmen, they're seem to have a plan for everyone, and they know, and they know if even if it doesn't work at the beginning, they're going to keep doing it, and they're going to and then eventually.
What's your plan for Smith?
What's my plan for Smith?
Everyone's got a plan for Smith. What's yours?
Probably deliver the ball a couple of strides early. Get him before the trigger. That's an option. I think if you were setting fields to his strengths, you'd end up bowling no balls because you had too many people behind square on the leg side.
Yeah.
So that's a tough option. Taking out a mid off, I don't think is going to stop him clipping it through the leg side for 4 and 1.
No.
But you got more chance of blocking it off, haven't you?
Yes.
And at the moment, he has a free shot. At least make him not get so many runs.
Yeah, he just move. He literally just picks it out.
But he does tend, he does manoeuvre it either side of what backward square leg would be. So yeah, maybe you have one man behind square, one man at dead square, one man at mid wicket, someone out covering.
Yep.
Obviously, you can't have 2 men behind square, but you can have someone dead square just in front. and someone just behind, and then someone just behind that too. That's,
you just make sure he runs out partners.
well, that's been the theory,
Yeah.
but he still gets double hundreds.
I know,
That one's
yeah.
wide by Wokes pushing across Wade, and he leaves it through
But
the
then
bare stone. There's no run.
maybe you set an aggressive, like really aggressive fields to whoever he's in with, and then maybe not so change it around when you're with him. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, aggressive fields are fine as long as you don't bowl bad balls. If you bowl
Yeah,
bad
very
balls
true,
at really aggressive
very
fields,
true,
they
yeah.
tend to go for runs, and then the other guy gets off as well, and Smith,
Yeah.
the pressure's not on Smith. That one's across Wade once more. He's on 7 off just 10 deliveries, and he leaves that through to the keeper, and
Well,
there's no run.
it's a conundrum that they may not figure out. So I don't really know. 3 blokes and a flat in Sydenham.
Well, I don't know if we do come up with it though. That'd be pretty big news. Wouldn't
Oh, would they? Wouldn't it? Yeah,
Yeah.
it'd be absolutely amazing. Yeah. Get me in the selector's seat to Ed Smith.
You, James Taylor, and Ed Smith.
James Taylor, and Ed Smith.
Well, yeah, I mean, the pros think you just keep doing what you normally do. That's irritating. Because I guess, that's cut back in, that's too high. It's an
That's
appeal
too
for LBW. Wade's not a tall man, but it's around about the box, cutting back in. No, it's too high, says Brody. And he's right. No,
Yep.
don't review that.
Oh, he likes it. He
you
likes
fucking
it.
joker.
All right. Well,
Okay.
we're going to
It was.
review.
It was straight. It was straight. That's all I think it's going for. It.
Yeah, but it's too high.
It will look too high to me.
Ask yourself one question. Do I feel lucky?
Ooh, it's not an oval. Just not an oval. Just not an oval. Let's have a look.
I don't think so.
Nip back. That's not out. What the fuck? That's an inside edge. Possibly an inside edge.
I mean, they could have been inside edge. Yeah.
That's not out. I mean, the best it's clipping.
Oh, he's
is-
on his toes as well, isn't he? And it's hit.
I think
above
he's
the
got an
knee
inside edge there, hasn't he? Yeah. Unless it's hit the top of the front.
No,
pad.
inside. So
Oh,
we've no.
I don't know.
Umpire's
Umpire's call
call
on
and
line,
missing.
it's missing. That's
What a
fucking
waste of review
shit
that was.
call. It was stump high actually. I thought it was going over, but it was stump high, but it was just going outside the line of off stump. And it only just hit him in line. That's a poor decision, shitty decision. Reed, what's that? Okay. Okie dokie. I don't know if they're saying that's inside edge or front
No,
pad.
I'm not sure, but I think it's front part. It's hard to tell on this one on the left. It looks like kind of it's the back, but then that one
Yeah.
there, it looks
Looks
like
like
it's
it's
the
front pad,
Yeah.
doesn't it?
Well, we've lost the review
Anyway,
either
we
way.
lost the
so
review. England, Australia 100 for 3.
that just seems odd because Root literally said too high, and then it was like, I'll go for it anyway. So no, strange.
You don't want to rate the views on Matthew Wade.
I know, yeah.
Might well get himself out sooner or later anyway. I'll save him for Smithy. That one's in at the pads and
Nice
clipped
shot,
quite nicely
actually.
by Wade. Picked it off about middle stump, out through wide mid on. Sorry, it's chased by Broad, and they're going to come back for 3.
Yeah, it was a nice shot. To be fair, following up from his.
It's interesting. We haven't seen Leach at
Survival.
all day.
No,
I reckon he gets a go after these two get to the end of their spells finally.
Although Wokes has been underbowled all summer.
he has.
He
Yeah,
has.
he has. Yeah.
But he's not quite as quick as he was last summer as well. He was up in the high 80s last summer. He's back down to what he was sort of mid to low 80s this year. I don't know if that's just workload through the year. And he's had to change a bit since all his injuries. He's had knee problems, didn't he? That was why he was out earlier in the season. It's full and straight and defended by Smith back up to the bowler. No run.
Yeah, I mean his pace isn't. Yeah, I mean it's like it's usually between like 84, 88, isn't it? Like 86, 86 usually round about.
We've got some tweets and comments and stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah, we've got a Cricketing View who's chipped in on the David Cameron autobiography. Says,
Yeah.
I did not is the perfect title for any Conservative politician's autobiography.
Well, yeah. Driven, sweet drive, straight down the
Oh,
ground. Got
shot.
to the pitch of that. Don't often see him drive through mid-on, but that's a beautiful straight drive. Came onto the bat really nicely, and Smith just drives it back past the bowler for 4 more runs.
Smack that all on the floor. Smack that, give me some more. Smack that
And he's closing in on, I thought...
Yeah, would you go for 47?
Under 47 and a half.
I mean, I
11 to
can't...
10, above even.
You just waste your money. Like. How much you put on?
Just a 5.
Just a 5, well, you know.
That's quite a good spread. You think you're in with a shout with a 47.
Yeah, but it's Smith.
It's Smith.
It's Smith.
But one day he's got to fail. He's got to fail.
Yeah, but it's not going to happen, is it? Not here.
Not here, not now.
Not here, not now.
Not like this.
But we need him to fail in this innings.
Yeah.
No, I suppose if he failed in the second innings, it wouldn't be the end of the world. They'd be batting last, wouldn't it? That was just as likely to.
But if he doesn't get to a century, that's a failure. But even if he gets 99, that's a failure at this point for Smith, really.
His test match average is what now? 63, 64?
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Outrageous. 107 for 3. First ball of Curran's next over. 2 leg side on Wade's legs, and he's clipped down too long leg. So they lose control after Archer and Broad come off, don't they? Clip for a double.
I don't even think Broad's bowled well today, actually. Yeah, it's not really. Hasn't really found his length. Archer's been brilliant so far, though. He's been brilliant.
He's got all 3 wickets, hasn't he?
Exactly, all 3 wickets. Yeah, exactly.
And in fairness to Curran, I think he's bowled a few hit-me balls, but there's actually...
I think Curran's bowled overall well.
He's striving to get that wicket, isn't he? He's trying to get that swing. That's what he relies on. He's up to the crease now. That does swing a little bit away. It's a bit too wide, though.
I always find it quite amusing where Johnny Bairstow's taking the ball for Sam Curran compared to Jofra Archer. It seems to be taking quite a few round the laces with Sam Curran.
Yeah, I think with Curran, because obviously he's looking for that swing, he's got a ball that fuller length, hasn't he? And that's where he kind of strays into the half volley sort of territory, and that's where he's been continuing.
Yes.
But there's going to be the time where he pulls the swing off, and he's going to cause some damage. Yeah.
We've seen it before.
Exactly.
That's too short, though. That's reasonably straight, and Wade's on the back foot and defends it back up the track to Curran, who picks up his follow-through, no run.
Well, it came up with his best before, which was 4 for 74, which is obviously against India last year.
Yeah.
And so obviously 74 is quite a lot of runs, but if you get it shows that he's going to lead the runs, but he's going to get you those wickets.
It's less than 20 per wicket.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not that bad, really, is it?
You can't happen that in a test match.
Yeah.
Nice tweet from Lloyd Griffiths here. Usually an avid TMSer, but delighted to listen to Guerrilla Cricket for the first time. The lack of boycott is really wonderful.
Nice.
Well,
good to have you in.
Ooh, inside half the bat as he drives that Wade. Gets it up to mid-on, and there's no run.
Yeah, I mean, it's sort of feels like it's drifting a bit.
Another wicket now, though.
Another wicket, yeah, definitely, yeah. It definitely would have been drifting if Labuschagne had
stayed in for longer, yeah. Desperately wanted to review that.
I did, didn't he? He did, yeah.
It was stone dead, man.
He did. Wish he had waste that
precisely.
review.
Again, that one goes straight on, doesn't have the amount of swing. Wade covers the swing, gets inside edge of the bat, goes square on the leg side out to square leg, and there is no run.
It's obviously winter in New Zealand for a couple of games, isn't it? And then South Africa's the main.
I mean, the first test starts mid-November. I don't know what the weather's like in mid-November in New Zealand. I imagine it's like early spring here.
Yeah.
So there could be some rain about. Probably be green pitches. They're probably darting all over the place.
Yeah, they do play on some drop-ins, don't they?
Yeah.
So there'll be some dry, hard ones as well, I imagine.
That's what the overheads will be like, though. I imagine it'll be quite conducive for bowling. That's too wide of the off stump. I
don't think our batting line would fancy facing Trent Boult.
Well, I mean, we did it last. We did it up. I mean, it was the end of the tour down under last time was bloody New Zealand, and that's when we got bowled out for 58 or something on the first morning, and then thought, oh wow, we've been up all bloody winter doing the Ashes and pointless ODIs in Australia. It's been a horrible winter. We've had no sleep. This test will go 2.5 days, and then it rained for 2 days. And we sat here till 4 in the morning, 2 days in a row before they called that off, and then had to sit out the last 2 days anyway.
I think he's adamantly that Wade hit the ball. Smith is adamant that Wade hit the ball there on that review.
Certainly an inside edge. I think,
yeah, well, that's what he thought. It did kind of look that way. It was difficult though, wasn't it?
It did, but they went the ball tracking anyway, so they must have thought that.
Well, they must have thought that flicky noise was off the pad rather than bat.
As I say, looking at it was pretty hard to tell, to be honest.
Yeah, it was. Smith is going to face up anyway. Wokes is in. Bowles is played to backward square leg. I'd have a man there. This was me. That's a single mid. Smith who's on to 41 way gets on strike. I'll definitely have the man behind square at square legs. Pretty standard behind square leg, and a mid wicket.
Yeah.
I mean, he will get it, as I said, he will get it between the two or wide of them. But more often than not, it will be within reach of the man and probably put them off taking the single. And then therefore their scoring rate will be slower.
Stops them rotating the strike.
Stops
as
them
well.
rotating the strike and have to look to score in other areas.
So talking about that short 45, sort of an off spin.
Not quite 40, no, I would have him closer to square leg. I think I'd have him straighter to square leg. I'd have him sort of 5 yards behind square leg, probably level with the umpire. That's a cross Wade. He crashes that through the offside. That's a decent shot. Beats the man at point.
Lovely.
Straight out to the boundary, 4 runs. He scores quite quickly, Wade, doesn't he? Just stood up there on his toes and punched that nicely. Butler's in there, I think, at that pretty shortish cover.
Pause the pause. Doesn't bother running. He knows it's gone.
I bet you he's an annoying bastard, Wade.
Why do you get that? Why do you get that impression?
Mouthy Australian.
I think him and for some reason I feel that him and Dave are one of best mates.
Yeah. Ooh, that's in at the pads, and he clips that up to mid on.
Don't think he quite fits into the new spiritual age of Australian cricket.
No, definitely not. Yeah,
definitely old
not.
school.
He is old school. Yeah.
He's not doing laps of the boundary with his shoes off.
No.
No.
Being all calm.
Yeah. I mean, Labuschagne's another character who I think is spiritual again, isn't he? He's possibly born again Christian. Langer's
Is he?
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah. Wokes over the wicket to Wade. Way down the offside, and there's no run. Yeah, born again Christianism doesn't really go down with me.
No.
You know.
No, not a fan.
I'm not a big fan of that shit. Sorry if you're religious, but I'm just not.
If we start asking for the umpires to put the ball through the hoops yet, I'm surprised they haven't started that yet.
No.
Not been a huge amount of lateral movement, has it?
No.
Yesterday Australia did that and they got a fucking ball that moved around. So, that was the last test, wasn't it? Yeah. That's clipped into the leg side. And
yeah, that was
about 13 overs before the new ball. They asked for a new ball and started hooping around everywhere. Like, for fuck's sake, man.
It was going around corners. Ridiculous. Ed Smith having a laugh with Trevor Bayliss.
Yeah.
Trevor Bayliss thinking, well, can't wait for this to be over.
Yeah,
I'm done. I'm done.
I'm out of here.
I'm out of here.
Monday evening at 6:30. I'm heading off to Heathrow.
Yeah, he's going to be, I think, Sunrisers head coach in the IPL. So it wouldn't do us right if they sign Jason Roy.
He's going to Sunrise.
He's going to Sunrisers.
Never entirely sure what a T20 head coach does.
Well, not really, no.
Go and hit it. That's played on the back foot by Smith up to mid on. Last ball of the over. No.
Surely Roy will be playing in that next year.
Well, yeah, I mean,
or Big Bash as well. I mean,
yeah,
something.
totally. Well, I mean, they'll all be even more licensed next year, won't they? Because the bloody World T20s at the back end of the year.
The 100 as well. Apparently, that every team's got to have an England Test player.
Really?
Every team's going to get an England Test player.
What would really help with 100, and it won't happen because the Indians will never allow it, but they want to get some Indian players in there as well.
They do,
see, India are quite smart in that sense. That they made the IPL.
Oh, hang on, it'll ruin our national game potentially.
Well,
so he is. Yeah,
there you go.
Get to go.
So Messi Jez says, just for the record, for all the comments about Steve Smith's ugly batting, even the Bear says of him, that's a beautiful drive.
Yes, it was a beautiful drive too.
Right, here is the new bowler.
Coming up, here's a face that I know. It's Jack Leach. Now coming up is Jack Leach. on Jack Leach.
Looks like he's rumbling for a fight, doesn't he, Wade?
Yeah, he does. Yeah,
Sort of shoulders.
yeah.
And
He definitely one who goes out and has a few too many beers. And
Yeah.
wants, him and Stokes would be interesting, wouldn't it?
yeah, it would be, wouldn't it?
I think sleeve tattoos are always a big signal, aren't they? As to
Yeah.
whether they'd be any fun on a night out.
Yeah.
Yeah, he looks like he'd just be literally looking to have a fight with anyone.
Yeah, he looks a bit aggro. Anyway, he's on 17, and Leach is going to go out over the wicket.
The owner of the best one in history. It's going to be
absolutely. It's going to be bowling him. There's a couple of little rough patches outside his off stump, and the bowlers follow through, and the first ball just goes straight on. I think he might have been expecting a little bit of turn. He knocks it out towards cover. Bairstow hairs out after it. Threats to throw down the bowler's end, but doesn't, and there's no run.
Yeah, I mean, Leach, did you see Smith taking apparently taking the mick out of him? Where he put the glasses on and...
Apparently it was Chris Rogers he was in.
Oh, was that Chris Rogers? Right, well, fair enough.
Down the track comes Wade.
Well, that I think
Flicks it into the leg side.
You see, I thought it was Leach. I thought it was Leach, but maybe that was people trying to stir something up.
I think that he was trying to stir something up. Well, if not, it's a fantastic cover up by the Australians.
It is, isn't it? Yeah.
Quick, think of the left-hand glasses.
Quick,
left-hand glasses.
Chris Rogers, yeah, Chris Rogers.
What did he actually do, though? I don't know.
I don't know.
He just had a shadow bat after they sung their team song in the circle. But to be perfectly honest, just the silly thing was doing it on the pitch, right? Doing it in the change room.
Yeah.
I think you're allowed to take the piss out of the opposition, aren't you?
Yeah. That's what I was thinking. Even if it was for Leach, I thought it was quite funny. I'm not really opposed to it.
I'm sure Leach can ride above it all as well.
I'm pretty sure he can. Yeah.
Why isn't he wearing bloody glasses now? Does he not? Am I being dumb? Does he not wear glasses?
He only wears them when he's batting.
Clipped down to on. Well, it's halfway back broad.
He doesn't actually need them. He's just doing them waste time. You know, the waving the glasses thing.
I don't think it's a fashion decision wearing.
No,
those
it's not. It's
glasses.
definitely not. No, it's definitely
they're
not.
not the thick rim Shoreditch.
But
glasses.
that's what I mean.
Yeah,
does he wear
exactly.
contacts when he's fielding then?
He might do. He must.
Just
He
doesn't like
must.
banging
He must.
them.
Yeah.
Oh, that's turn! I don't know if there's any bat on that. There's a leaping salmon. It's Joss Butler at short leg. But I don't know if he did get any bat. I think it might turn past the inside edge, but then again, it might not have done. I can't see from the front. I think it did actually. I think it beat the bat.
Yeah.
Massively off
Fair.
the pad. Don't think it caught anything. But that's what happens if you hit the.
Yeah.
You know that's good that he's hit the footmarks early on, because that'll put it in the batsman's mind. Next ball he gets just.
Yeah, something to think about, isn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
For Wade that.
No, he's smiling. That's a bad sign. 117 for 3, Australia. It's only in 36 over the innings. Leach is up to the wicket, bowls it, sees Wade coming, shoves it full and at the stumps. And, Wade has to alter a little bit, bring the bat down in front of his pad, manages to get it up to mid-on, and gets through for a single.
Yeah, they've scored relatively quickly, Australia, haven't they? Really?
Not too bad.
Not too
They
bad,
have, really. Just over 3 and over.
Yeah.
Have we been giving out tips on tourism in New Zealand? It's just Twitter is giving us.
Someone is going to New Zealand. Someone's going to New Zealand and wanted some tips.
So forgive me if I pronounce this wrong, but Gordon Anderson, Mount Maganowee is near Tauranga. It's a decent hill to climb up with stunning views and heated saltwater pools to relax in afterwards.
Oh, that sounds
That's
good,
a
doesn't
tip.
it?
That's a nice tip.
Well, Karen's going to continue.
Brian Barish at Gorilla Cricket. Same reaction I have when someone tells me they're a born-again Christian. Yeah.
Is this a change or is it continuing?
I've met a few.
This is a change, isn't it?
Is it?
Walks was bowling, wasn't it?
Oh yeah, he was bowling. All right, actually.
There he is. Here's Cohen.
Is he a better bowler? What's his distinguishing feature?
He's up to the crease now. Bowls at Wade, who gets squared up first ball. Trying to work it into the leg side. It goes out to Denley, who's at point, and there's no run.
Not sure whether it's because Sam Curran's something new to look at, but every time he's bowled to an Australian batsman today, he has at least travelled them slightly.
Yeah, he has.
Yeah,
well,
he
I
has,
think
yeah.
for the left hand, I mean, it's just a different angle, isn't it? I mean, I guess he gets to face that against Stark in the nets. There aren't that many left-handers playing in the series, so
No, yeah,
it's a
very-
different angle.
it's
He gets it
literally-
to swing away from Wade instead of coming into him.
Yeah, him and they're all well. Off Archer can bowl left arm seam as well.
Horrible
But
ball down leg side, and there's no run. Filth.
yeah,
And taken by Johnny Bairstow's laces again.
Yeah.
It's just, looks like they brought on a 13-year-old to have a go at it.
It's about right.
to be fair, the first time I saw him properly was last year for the India, for obviously the India series, and I did think we just had a 15-year-old boy on.
Well, he bowled all right though, didn't he?
He did.
I'm coming out. Chris is coming in. Socks here! Good man! And Sammy Curran's in, and it's defended back down the track. He can't grab it on his follow through. Mid on comes over to field, and there's no running 3 balls time. We'll see Sock. He's coming on Ed, Chris, and Sock. Nice. He's just cracked his beer and he's ready. All the building jobs done, Sock. Yeah, good. The beard's got shorter since I last saw you. I didn't hear that because I've got headphones on. I presume it's something about summer. That's at the pad. That's not bad, but I don't think it's out. It is. And now that might be out, and if he reviews it, I'd said that's maybe the best clipping leg stump, but it has been given out, and decision is reviewed. I'd said if he hadn't given it out and England would have reviewed it, would remain not out. But having given out, I think reviewing that could be a bit dodgy. It could be crashing into leg slump. It was very full.
Moved late.
It did move a little late. It certainly hit him in line. It's a question of whether it's going down or not. Let's have a look again. I'm not sure that is out, you know. I mean, he's on the crease, and it must have only hit him in line marginally with leg stump. I think it's quite poor umpiring, really. We'll have a look, though. There is nothing on the bat. Well, maybe it's hit him in front of middle and leg, not leg. I don't know.
Maybe middle and leg, but
maybe middle and leg. There's certainly no bat on it. He's working.
Yeah,
into
no
the
bat.
leg side.
So here we go.
Here we go. It's hit him in line, and it is clipping. Told you. On first look, I wouldn't have given. I wouldn't have given that out as an umpire, but I'm glad he did. And it is hitting the stumps. It's umpire's call on leg stump. I think he got to feel a little bit unlucky about that, but it's bloody Wade. He's Australian. Bye bye.
Now you're gone.
He's not happy.
He's fuming.
He's fuming.
He's gonna.
Shaking his head. I can understand that. It felt. I mean, when I looked at that, I thought, I'm not sure that's out.
He's
but then, exactly as I said, I think if it's hitting in line, it's probably marginally hitting leg stump, and therefore the umpire technically isn't wrong.
He's definitely going to be waiting for Dharmasena after him.
Yeah. I mean, if I
he's going for his car.
If I saw that in real time to myself, and that was me, I think, fucking hell, he's getting out, really?
Yeah, well, I mean, he thought about it, didn't he? But
he did think about it. I thought he wasn't going to give it.
I thought he wasn't going to give it.
I think it'd been right not to give it. But hey ho, England get a bit of luck for a change.
It's got to pay by England, to be fair. I think they maybe. I think they might have convinced
I think
them
Dharmasena is definitely one of those umpires you can convince.
I think definitely because
give it a big shout.
Give it a big shout.
Keep asking, please, yes. Thank you.
Almost one of those ones where you start saying yes instead of appealing.
Yeah,
yeah.
Oh.
So Messi Jez has been somewhat pathetic here and has said that Wade is too much like Roy. He doesn't see him lasting long. So there you go.
No, actually, I think
not sure about.
I think I said earlier. I think it's between Head and Wade for this test, and I think Wade actually through the series proved his worth to be more than Head.
He has actually. And
I thought Head started off in a better position.
Head was okay in the first innings against Edgbaston. Apart from that, he hasn't done much. It'll be Mitchell Marsh now, won't it? So.
It will be Mitchell Marsh.
No,
he has an average of 12 in England.
He's not Shaw, he's not Rod, he's not Daniel, he's not Jack, he's not Jamie, he's not Lisa, he's not Paul, he's not Adrian, he's not Andrew, he's not CJ, he's not Christian, he's not Dean, he's not Eric, he's not Edward, he's not John. he's not James, he's not Laura, he's not Paul, he's not Reginald, he's not Steve, he's not Mitchell, he's not Amelia, he's not Terry, he's not Brendan, he's not Jeff.
Couldn't amount to a nicer guy. Anyway, 2 balls left in our little spell. 118 for 2, and prodded out unnecessarily by Marsh.
Nearly the end of Mitchell Marsh.
It was nearly the end of Mitchell Marsh. He had no reason to play it now whatsoever. It was thrown across him. Obviously wanted to fill bat and ball. Didn't move his feet at all even. Just pushed his bat at it and is across to the slip along the ground. No run.
Well, I'm pleased Curran's got a wicket because I think he's bowled quite well.
Yeah, I think he's bowled reasonably well. I think he should have had a go early on the season.
Oh, I mean, there was a big.
Overton batted well at the back end of the last test.
Yeah, but he's balling. He didn't really do anything balling, did he? Really?
And Curran was next cab off the rank. I think it was a bit unfortunate to get overlooked. Last ball of the over. Last ball of my spell is defended back by Marsh. Back to the bowler.
We'll have some music.
We'll have a little bit of music, a little bit of Rihanna, and then a whole new crew for you. Until later, goodbye.
Yep. You owe us all right. You think this alternative cricket commentary stuff comes cheap? Well, we need some dollar bills to help pay our bills. So please, go to patreon.com/GorillaCricket and sign up to make a regular monthly donation. You know there is literally nothing like Gorilla Cricket's coverage, so don't be tight. Dip into your virtual pocket and throw some cash our way. See, Rihanna knows. Patreon.com/GorillaCricket.
So it's 118 for 4. The last wicket to fall, that of Matthew Wade. Somewhat unfortunate to be given LBW, and that's brought Mitchell Marsh to the crease, who's batting alongside who else? Steve Smith, who's on 42. He's going to face the first ball from Leach, which he drives down the ground to long on and takes a single. And we have on my left doing tweets Chris the Choir.
Well, I'm not totally sure where we were up to. But
don't worry about that, because I'm going to introduce the man on the right, Sock.
G'day, mate.
Back after a long absence.
Long absence. I think it was definitely last summer since I've sat in the chair.
Yes.
Well, it's good to be back.
It's good to see you, mate. How have you been enjoying this Australian team?
Good. Myself and the crazy redhead, we went to Edgbaston for Saturday and Sunday, which was 2 fine days for Australians to be watching cricket.
Fantastic.
But yeah, caught glimpses of it. Been quite busy with work and obviously playing on the weekends. But it's been a good summer for an Australia supporter.
Leach around the wicket to Marsh with a slip, and that's defended off the front foot out to cover, and there's no run. Yeah, I mean, this is probably the busiest time of the year for you. You've got cricket to watch, cricket to play, and work.
Yeah, and work. Yeah, it's just been one of those years. It's been busy Monday to Sunday every week.
Leach is in, and Marsh has hit on the pads. Oh, there's an appeal for LBW there. Marius Erasmus is not interested. I thought it looked a little bit high, and I thought the Curran wicket was out. So you have to think that was probably not worth a review.
Leach is just saying himself there that he thinks it was going down leg.
Eagle-eyed Sock. Let's see, yeah, so Leach bowling round the wicket is pretty straight.
Ooh, I
don't know, that looks a bit closer than I...
Just going straight on rather than turning.
Yep.
Yeah, maybe sliding down. I'd like to see the Hawkeye for that.
Hitting on the back leg.
Leach into Marsh, and that is too full, and that's patted down, but they've brought long on up to mid-on for Mitchell Marsh. Yeah, going down. Good. Eagle-eyed Sock has spotted it. Missing leg stump. Didn't, as you said, Chris, didn't turn really, just went straight on with the arm, and with the angle, it's always going to miss leg stump. Leach in, and that's defended again off the front foot by Mitchell Marsh, straight back to the bowler, and there's no run. Yeah, did you get to see which you would have seen Stephen Smith batting? Almost certainly. That's what watching Australia is this summer.
Pretty much every day. Smith and Wade batted for a long time.
Leach completes his over and gets one off the outside edge of Marsh's bat down to backward point. There's no run, so one off the over. Marsh is on naught. Smith will be on 43 and on strike for the next over. 119 for 4.
It was a bit strange. We were staying in the same hotel as the team, coincidentally.
Wow.
We know that. So when we came out of Birmingham New Street station and walked up to the hotel, we sort of turned into the street that the hotel's on, and I look over and Steve Waugh's walking on the other side of the road. And then it's like, okay, there's only one hotel up here. And then, so we go in, and as we must have gone in to check in, the team bus must have turned up, because it turned around and Tim Payne's standing right behind me. And I was like, g'day, mate, bit of a tough day. He goes, yeah, mate, bit tough. That was the Friday, but
yeah, it all turned around. Sorry, Chris.
As that was the game where England had a lead of 90 after the first innings.
That's
wasn't
right. They were well on top. It swung as many of these tests have. Swung one way and then swung the next.
Yeah, I mean,
it's been great cricket to watch.
Yeah, I'd say the all 4 games have been pretty good games. Maybe the 4th one, apart from the final day, not as exciting. Curran's going to continue. He bowls, and that's well defended by Stephen Smith off the back foot. Played it very, very late. But apart from Curran and maybe Archer for a little bit, Steve Smith has looked completely untroubled.
Untroubled, yeah. I wonder if have you asked that question to Warner, how he's feeling at the moment.
Yeah, it's like yin and yang, aren't they? I mean,
We were in the elevator at the hotel, and the door opened, and Warner and Travis Head walked in, and I had no idea who Travis Head was. Because every time the last couple of years when we've been home and he's been playing BBL, it looks like his photo was from when he was 15.
Curran continues to Smith, and that's on the pads and just flicked to the fielder at mid-on, and ooh and ah from Curran because the bat came down so late. But
so this taller guy gets on with Warner, and I'm like, oh yeah, how the hell's this guy? And Crazy Redhead's looking at me, thinking I'm gonna say something, and I'm just going through my my mental checklist. No, nothing. And then as soon as they walked out, and I said, "G'day, see you later," blah blah blah. And I was like, "Oh, it must be Travis Head." taller, and he's actually a man, not a teenager. Who knew?
Curran's in to Smith, and that's a terrible delivery down the leg side. That's just knocked to Jack Leach fielding at fine leg, and they'll take a single.
I think do you reckon he could get him here? I've always thought that the left-hander bowling a Yorker to Smith is probably the one that would get him. It's very hard for the right-hander to do it, I think, going across the line and etc. But you think the left-hander has a chance bowling the Yorker to Smith?
And Curran's getting it to swing. I mean, he's got more swing than probably any other England bowler this series, Chris.
And that was the first ball he bowled in his spell after lunch.
Yeah.
Was the in-swinging Yorker, and it really made Smith jump.
Yeah, to really jam down on it. I saw that. Yeah.
Curran to Marsh, who's yet to score. He's in and he bowls, and that's a good in-swinger on a good length, and it's fielded by the short mid-off that they have just stationed right next to the non-strike batsman, and there's no run.
I wonder if he's there. Maybe they have a plan against Marsh. He likes to hit the ball. Maybe they think he's going to hit it up in the air straight.
Yep.
He had a phenomenal domestic season last year playing for Western Australia. At some stage, I think he scored about 4 centuries on the trot in the Sheffield Shield.
And we keep hearing that the Australian team, want him in the team and are too desperate for him to do well as Curran bowls, but that's 2 straight. It's on the pads. Easy pickings for Marsh. He'll get off the mark here with 2 down to Jack Leach, who has to run square of the wicket, fielding at fine leg. And that's a little bit too easy. We were saying, I know this is Marsh and not Smith, but if that's the tactic, I think you need more protection on the onside than they're giving him currently.
Yeah, it's a shit job for the bowler if you don't have any protection.
Yeah,
if that's where
you
want to bowl to him and sort of to take the wickets. If you can't
we're saying you
get
need
your skipper to back you up a little bit, it's not a great day.
Yeah, you need like a forward mid-wicket and sort of square one and a less square one ultimately, just to protect you from being milked.
That's it.
But yeah, we hear that Marsh, they're desperate for Marsh to be in the team, but he's very unpopular back in Australia, and he apparently said that in his interview with the BBC today.
Well, I don't know.
Curran bowls, and that's Jack 2 straight on the pads, flick to fine leg for 1 every day of the week. In fact, it might be for 4. No, Jack Leach I don't think quite picked that up, but he's gone squarer, so they are going to get through for... Was that 2 or 3?
I think I might have got through.
No, the scoreboard says 2, so that won't lie. Marsh is on 4. Smith will be on 44 and on strike for the next over, 124 for 4. Chris?
And some tweets. Messages. For me, while I acknowledge Wade has made plenty of runs in red ball cricket to force his way into this team, he's a long way from convincing me he's a test batsman. Too much like Roy in his approach.
It's a bit unfair. He's made 100.
Mumat says, good work to the man with the school shooter fade, which I assume is Curran. Gary Naylor, our own Gary.
Gads!
Not as bad as Roy, but his white ball attitude shows you can't hit that many balls for 4, not unless you're Viv or Lara. Matt Searle says you can't spell Damascena without DRS.
Yeah, well, to be fair, he got that right. It was just clipping the stumps. I think you could feel unlucky, but it's not a poor decision, as it were.
True.
Right, Leach is going to continue, and he's going to go round the wicket to Stephen Smith, who's on 44. So we've got the two left armers trying to work on perhaps Steve Smith's only weakness, as he's back and forcing into the offside, and he's beaten the man at point. Is that going to go all the way to the boundary? No, there's a sweeper out there, and they're going to get through for 2. Yeah, it's Joffer Archer out there. Yeah, we seem a little bit behind, so let's go through a few more.
Neymar Butlins, I have tune-up. Often repeats sections of commentary while buffering. Smith hits a 4. Smith hits a 4, etc., etc. Feel my pain.
That's not a repeat, that's just Stephen Smith. He's 4 away from 50 as Jack Leach past Murray Erasmus and in, and he's sort of dabbing into the offside. A nothing shot, a little push straight to cover for no run.
Linux Lear getting political. Cheeky of you to beg for a relatively stable currency in that jingle and not your local monopoly money. Yes, give us dollars, it's better value these days.
Or euros, as Leach is into Smith, who's defending down the ground and tries to scarper off for a single, but soon turns back and there's no run.
Roger Melly asks, is Maxwell in the squad? Fucked if I know why he isn't in the squad. The middle order could sure use him.
I'm pretty sure he's not in the squad.
Not in the squad.
He had a poor World Cup.
He's playing...
Leach is into Smith, who's defending into the offside for no run.
He's playing in one of the T20
Lancashire, I think. Yeah, he was playing for Lancashire.
And Messi Jez says, welcome back, Sock.
G'day, Jez.
Always good to have a Perth boy on air. Messi being, of course, adopted by Perth.
That's right.
Leach into Smith. He's come down the ground. He's heaved that into the onside. Is it all the way? It is. He's planted it into a bank of Australian supporters in Cow Corner. So it's 6 and 50 for the new Bradman.
That was a big hit.
That was big. And 52, and at no point since he's come in have I thought he's going to get out. It feels inevitable.
Didn't even come off the middle of the bat.
No, it
Looked
didn't.
like he towed it.
Oh, didn't quite make it to the Australian fanatics out there. But 52 off 91 deliveries, and it has been so easy for Smith, who's back and cutting or back punching a short ball to backward point, and there's no run.
Didn't quite get up there. I think that one kept a little low.
Yeah, well, I think the one that Pat Cummings got Joe Root with kept a little bit low as well.
I think even if it had have maybe not kept
low,
no,
it would have been
the stump or taking the edge. So
yeah, 6 for Steve Smith. So 100's on the cards here. The real question is, can he get to 304 in aggregate to go past Don Bradman? I think.
I don't know. I wouldn't put it past him.
So 159 minutes for that 50 from Steve Smith. 5 4s and a 6. 92 balls faced, and it has looked almost inevitable. Well, that was the end of the over. 132 for 4. Sam Curran's going to continue to Mitchell Marsh, who's on 4 at the other end, and he's just got to stay in and let Steve Smith do his magic. He could use some runs, Mitchell Marsh, and he drives beautifully, but straight to extra cover, and there's no run.
Messages retweets something from Sam Ferris saying, another record for Steve Smith. He now has the most runs in a test series on English soil by a Smith, eclipsing Graham Smith's 714 in 2003.
There you go. Just record after record going on here.
Well, he's got nearly twice as many runs as the next best player, as Marsh drives straight to the man fielding at square cover, and there's no run.
My favourite one from the last test, of course, was that he's now the leading run scorer in the world and didn't play for 7 months.
He said he played 4 tests and he could only bat in one of the innings. Yeah, it's terrifying. 723 runs. The next best, Ben Stokes with 374.
Yeah.
Average of 144.6. I mean, he has entered God mode. That's what I felt whenever he's been batting.
The stat on the screen is that he's scored over 500 runs in the last 3 Ashes series.
Yeah, and they're saying he averaged 137 in the last Ashes, but a lot of that was just the sort of English bowling attack you thought wasn't very good, whereas here, England have bowled really well at everyone apart from Steve Smith.
True.
And Marcus Labuschagne's played well, but yeah, just extraordinary. As Curran bowls to Marsh and yorks him actually. Goes under the bat but outside the off stump and straight through to Johnny Bairstow, and there's no run.
Now, I missed this bit on Marsh. I don't know what the fuss is about. I think certainly, in Western Australia anyway, where he plays, he's looked a lot upon quite well, but I don't know. I think that the big thing, maybe the difference is he doesn't possibly swing it as much in Australia with the kookaburras and whatnot. But I mean, people saying that he's not, that he's a pedestrian medium pacer. There was a couple of balls there yesterday that were at 89 mile an hour.
He was faster than Siddle as Curran bowls to Marsh. He gets one off the outside edge, and that's run past Gully. That's running down to the third man boundary, but it's going to be cut off by Rory Burns, and they are going to get back for 3, in fact. So Marsh moves on to 7, 135 for 4. So you're saying about Marsh?
I'm not too sure what the recent controversy is, or whether he feels he's been hard done by being left out of the team. But great article yesterday saying that it looks like that he foregone a $3 million paycheck to play one test this summer.
What?
Well, he didn't play in the IPL.
Oh, right.
So they reckon that's what he would have got. So this one test match,
as Smith defends on the back foot and there's no run.
So because he didn't play in the World Cup because he had an injury tweak, and hasn't played in the first 4 tests. So this one test has cost him the admission price of $3 million.
Wow, that's a lot of dough for the baggy green. No, I think, isn't there also a perception that him and his brother have both had a lot of chances,
yes,
and not quite fulfilled their talent, and there's a feeling that as Jeff Marsh's relatives, perhaps as Curran's in and Smith again goes back, knocks it into the onside, they're coming through for a second. This is going to be close if there's a good throw, but there isn't, and they get through comfortably for 2, 137 for 4 at the end of the over. They've got a few more chances than other people without the Marsh name would have done.
I think that's probably a little bit unfair. I think when those selections have taken place, Sean Marsh had been making runs in nearly everything that he was doing, and I think especially with Mitch Marsh, I'm not sure there was any other really decent contender for the all-rounder spot.
No, absolutely right. Chris, any tweets?
Yeah, a couple which are sort of replying to other people. Gordon Anderson replying to a picture of Mount Manganui that Gorilla posted. Never watched cricket there, but yeah, it does. The hill I was referring to is at the top of that picture. Ishak Sheikh just peeped through the window to see what's going on. My habit. I don't get full time to watch everything anywhere, and that is to a whole load of people. So I'm not sure.
All right. Well, let's leave the conversations because we have a bowling change. It's England's senior paceman who's going to try and winkle out Mitchell Marsh. It's this man.
What would make road walk? If his stumps were knocked down, what would make road walk? Caught 5 feet off the ground, what would make road walk? If he trod on his stumps, what would make road walk? If God was one of the arms, what would make road walk? Road walk.
What broad?
Two slips a gully and a catching cover are the catches for Mitchell Marsh. Australia 137 for 4, but Stephen Smith still out there at the non-strikers on 54. Broad bowls to Marsh, who drives beautifully, but there's a man fielding at cover and there's no run. I mean, is this tactic now from England, just get everybody else out?
Well, I was actually talking about this last weekend, I think during our batting innings, and I think it was not a bad tactic if you get him off strike and hammer the other end. If now that Labuschagne's gone, and they've seemed to have been the most stubborn blokes to get out in this series, but it's not a bad tactic.
No, nothing else has worked. Why not try that? Broads into Marsh, who's leaving outside the off stump, and there's no run.
I find it's interesting. I think there'll be quite a few of the English Brains Trust will go away at the end of this and have a good think and try and come up with something. But it's a risky, bet to try and then implement something into a test match. If it doesn't pay off, you're still going to leak runs, aren't you?
And they have these whole analysis backroom teams and stuff. So I'm sure they have put together plans. It's just that he's such a good player, Stephen Smith. He's managed to resist them all.
Sure.
Brought over the wicket to Marsh. That's down the leg side, and he's missed out there. Mitchell Marsh. It's gone straight through to Johnny Bairstow. There's no run. Any tickle on that would have flown fine to the boundary for 4, but he didn't get anything on it.
I think he just missed. His hands come off the bat there. So
yeah.
He might have clipped the pad.
Yeah.
There's some discussion about what David Gower is going to do after his Sky contract.
Yeah, it's his final test match, of course, him and Ian Botham.
Chris High and Square says, I've said it before, Gower is so smooth, he could cuss and tell dirty dick jokes on air and no one would notice.
Marsh facing up to Broad, and Broad bowls, and Marsh has a loose cut outside the off stump for a ball that probably wasn't wide enough, and he'll be remonstrating with himself because
swish and a miss.
Swish and a miss indeed.
And Steptoe has said QVC have made a bid.
I wouldn't be surprised if you see Sky have a dib at Alistair Cook.
Yeah, yeah.
So they might be trying to make way a little bit of the older for the newer.
No, it's right. I suppose Ian Botham, and it's kind of surprising as Ian Botham and David Gower going as Broad bowls, and that's driven straight to Joss Butler there at the catch and cover / catching mid off. There's no run. It's sort of surprising that David Lloyd and Michael Holding are hanging on, I suppose.
I saw a hint that Bumble was under fire or was a potential.
Well, he's in his
casualty.
70s, so I mean, but he's such a well-known figure. I mean, we just had pictures of him earlier walking onto the pitch dressed as Ozzy Osbourne, so he obviously is quite happy to do anything to keep his job. And fine, fair enough. In this Brexit economy, stay, keep what you've got.
I think that you've also got to give a bit of nod to the age group.
As Broad is bowling to Marsh, who defends off the front foot, the end of the over 1-3-7 for 4. Sorry, stop.
For the age group of people who have the time and the leisure to go to test matches and sit at home and watch them. Those guys of that generation obviously resonate with the people who are there, but you also want to be bringing in a little bit of new talent as well. And
both of them is crap. So.
And I have been listening to a little bit of the Oppo over the summer, and Alistair Cook's pretty good.
Yeah, he's certainly, and for some reason Graham Swan's not there, which is great because you don't want to sort of strangle yourself to death while you're watching it. But anyway, enough of the chat about the competition. What tweets have we got, Chris?
Dave Almighty, please ban Nazis, says, all hail the children of the corn. The T-Boy, again talking about grounds in New Zealand, says, it's no Rotorua. Evil Scooters, howdy sock, good to hear from you again.
G'day.
And Hector Capoletti says, if Gower says no, how about the magnificent Jeremy Coney? Could listen to his dulcet tones all day.
Yeah, well, we tried to convince David Gower to come on our programme for the winter as Curran continues and Smith drives as only Smith can off the back foot through extra cover for a glorious boundary.
2 + 2 is a man.
These back foot drives, he doesn't seem to bother getting on the front foot to drive anymore.
Doesn't bother at all. He just waits for it to get up, and
it just looks magnificent.
Just sort of lifts that front leg, and then he doesn't even seem to be moving forward when he makes contact.
No, I don't think he is.
Stands there and swings.
Yeah, it's absolutely magnificent. Curran into Smith, and this time it's on the pads, and he'll tickle it away for the easiest of singles out to the field rat, deep backward square.
I hope we get a side-on shot there because I'd like to see if he's actually transferring his weight, or is he just rocking on the back foot, waiting for the ball, and just bang, full face of the bat. See you later.
But I've never seen anyone who really doesn't plant the front foot for their drives ever now. I mean, but it doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter.
I saw a picture of him, and they were saying how far back in the crease he stands because he can play so late.
Yes.
Cricket, he's really cracked it. Someone should be asking him how to play cricket. Smith to Marsh, and that's a good in-swinger, but well played by Mitchell Marsh. Punch straight to Jofra Archer at mid-on, and there's no run. So we've got this catcher in right by the non-striker, a catching cover mid-off for Mitchell Marsh, but not for Stephen Smith. I think they think he'll just blast it somewhere else if they bother doing that. We haven't seen a side-on replay, which is a shame, as I'd love to see that shot again. But it certainly does seem like his weight doesn't really transfer forward sock. I agree with you. As Curran is going to bowl over the wicket to Mitchell Marsh, and again that is driven, an in-swinger from Mitchell Marsh driven straight back to Sam Curran.
Marsh is playing this as if he had a tennis racket in his hand, it would be in the warm-up.
Yeah.
He's just sort of practicing what he's going to do when he gets into the real game.
Again, though, Sam Curran struggling, getting the ball to swing a little bit, but not causing a huge number of problems. I suppose the same might be said of Chris Wokes, who you wonder if he's fully fit, as he's bowled such a small number of overs throughout the series and indeed in this game, as Curran comes over the wicket to Marsh, and that is 2 straight on the leg stump and flicked into the vacant mid-wicket area close in, and they take a single.
Looked to me like he was attempting slower ball there, and he just got his line a little bit wrong.
Yeah. Well, he is pitching it up, Sam Curran. He's giving it the opportunity to swing. We saw Mitchell Marsh swing it miles yesterday.
Yeah, he was really both ways.
Yeah, getting it to go. But Sam Curran not yet found the threat that Marsh has. Although he is bowling at the best batsman in the world. So you can't blame him for that. And he has caused him a few problems, Stephen Smith. You were saying, Sock, you think the left armer's Yorker is probably the most vulnerable thing he is likely to face, as he leaves one outside the off stump, and that's the end of the over. 143 for 4.
Yeah, I just think the combination of the angle of the left-hander coming over and his exaggerated move to the offside is if you do get one to sort of hit him on the heel, essentially, or so if he's got the ball started at his toe and swung into the right-hander and hit him on the heel, that possibly he won't get the bat to catch up with the ball going across him.
We keep thinking the bat won't catch up with the ball, but it always does with him, yeah.
And then the ball tends to disappear at a rapid rate
of
knots.
So it's 143 for 4, Australia trail by 151, led by Steve Smith, that Australian innings, 59 not out, Mitchell Marsh is with him on 8. We're going to get 1 over in, I think, before lunch. Yes. Jack Leach has been bowling, and they haven't left the field. But no, it's Stuart Broad, of course. Sorry, he's going to bowl the final over before lunch. 0 for 30 off his 9 as Marsh attempts an expansive drive to the inside edges, back onto the pitch, and there's no run.
1 over before tea. We've been here longer than you think.
1 over before tea. Oh, did I say 1 over before lunch? Steve Smith just sends me into sort of a hypnotic state where time doesn't really exist.
Time bender.
Yeah, he's just there, and then you close your eyes, and he's 80, and then it's at 110, and then 140. He'll be looking at a century before end of play today, I'm sure of that, as Broad is into Marsh, and Marsh flicks that into the onside, but there is a fielder there who's fielding in front of square at mid-wicket, Chris Wokes, but he's got round to cut off a single, and Marsh remains on 8.
Yeah, Smith's strike rate, I mean, last time I looked, it had just crept over 40. It's now over 60.
With no effort.
Well, he hit Leach for that big 6.
Yes, that's true. But I suppose he thinks it's just a safe shot, if there's no one out there. He's in such confidence and such control that I just don't think he really fears anyone at the moment. Broad, the third ball of his over to Marsh, and that's defended into the onside off the back foot. To Chris Wokes at mid-wicket, and there's no run. 143 for 4. So England chipping away. They haven't let Australia take total control, as has happened in some other games. They bowled pretty well.
Pretty tight.
And it's a good wicket, I have to say. Tim Payne elected to field yesterday, which was a surprise for everyone.
Yes.
Perhaps he thought that it was a good wicket and there was cloud cover and he saw the forecast. I don't know. But Broad bowls, and that's a better delivery that's taken on the inside edge of Marsh's bat, who's defending on the front foot, and there's no run.
Just a hint of movement into the right-hander through the air, I think, there. Yeah. Enough to pick up the edge of Marsh's bat.
Yeah, well, it looks a good pitch, and I think anyone winning this game, taking 20 wickets, will be probably...
It's going to be tough.
It's going to be tough. We haven't seen any... We've seen a couple that have kept a little bit low, maybe.
Sure.
But it's probably the best batting wicket of the series that we've seen so far. Broad into Marsh, and he bowls, and that's short outside the off stump, and Marsh has cut that quite superbly backward of point to the boundary for one of these. You double click there so perfectly. I didn't like they were they literally aligned each other so well you didn't even notice.
Yeah.
Right, so the second last of the ball of the session has been hammered to the backward point boundary by Mitchell Marsh, who's moved on to 12, providing ample support for Stephen Smith.
There's a massive gap there, isn't there?
Yeah. Well, he had a flash at one, and I think they were trying to encourage it again, but he just middled it as Broad bowls straight on the off stump of Mitchell Marsh, who defends it straight back to Broad, who throws it straight into Marsh's pads to end the 44th over and end the session. Broad's taking his floppy hat from Moray Erasmus. So Australia have finished 147 for 4. Marsh on 12. Stephen Smith, as ever, not out at the end of a session. 59 off 97 balls, looking nailed on as anything for 100. There have been 92 runs in this session and 2 wickets, so the over rate just above 12, which has been pretty poor all game.
They're 7.5 overs behind since the start of the innings.
Yes, but, you know, in the modern standard, that's fine,
It's
because you've got the
actually
extra
not
half an hour, yeah. But that means we'll only be probably at 1 or 2 short today, rather than 8, which was ridiculous yesterday.
Well, what do you? I think I was talking about having a chat about this when they first introduced this, and they were saying that there'll be a points deduction for slow over rates, but you could almost have the farcical situation where a team that has won the majority of their games may lose out in the Test Championship playoff place because they are consistently slow at over rates.
Yeah, and I think we are of the opinion that until you have in-game penalties, no one's going to give a shit, basically.
No one gives a shit, right?
Yeah.
No one.
Right, we got any tweets, Chris, before we
Lots
wrap
I've got
up?
to catch up with. Talking about Gower, David Boba says, did the offer include alcohol? Yes. Beer, claret, champagne, I think have all been suggested.
Whatever he wants.
Takahashi Hara says the Rhodesian rapscallion gets his first against Australia after last Ashes performance when his older brother got Warner out no ball on 99.
Yeah, that's Sam Curran, who took 1 for 4, who's taken 1 for 40, and he got the crucial wicket of Wade.
Duende is telling us to ask Gower again. Samuel Adams, listening in North Macedonia, subjecting my colleagues to greatest game. Short third man says most of the bowling faced by Bradman was probably 60-mile-an-hour pies, so Smith is clearly better.
I think that's rubbish.
Yeah, there was good debate about that the other day. They were talking about some of the bowlers in Bradman's era, and that there would have been quite a good majority of them that were fairly average by today's standards. But then you still had some really good tearaway quicks.
And look at the gap between him and his contemporaries,
Well,
right?
that's right.
Yeah.
Morgan Hauptfleisch says, I missed the morning, was counting giraffes. What did Warner get? I bet on a quick 80 odd.
No.
I think that's tongue in cheek.
He got a 5.
He got 5, yes. Baffling that Sky are getting rid of Gower and keeping Botham, who adds absolutely nothing.
They're not. They're getting rid of him as well.
That's what I was about to say. That was George Young. T-Boy says, why does Gorilla Cricket Twitter account not have the little verified blue tick? Who dare challenge the mighty gorillas? Samuel Adams, how to get Smith out? Plant some sandpaper in his whites and accuse him of ball tampering again. Messages about Gorilla says it has no peers. W. Elliot Bulmer, between the World Cup and the Ashes, it's been a very enjoyable cricketing summer. Thanks to Gorilla Cricket for their commentary. Thank you to our listeners. Messages points out that Botham is going too. Anna Forsyth, I was thinking about falling back asleep to your delightful comms for a bit, but Ed's on, so never mind.
I might knock you out. With noise.
Might be the volume that Anna's referring.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
Yeah. Mrs. Clugston says Smith isn't God, his will is simply stronger. Giving up isn't a strategy. Not sure who Hector Capoletti is talking about living in Oxfordshire. That might be Gower. Nick Yates, I like him a lot, but they don't get me to pick the team. Mrs. Clugston again. P.S. I thought Gower wanted to go at the jingle machine. That would be fun. Gus Somerville just did some research on the religious beliefs of Labuschagne. He's a Baptist, has Isaiah 40:31 written on his bat, and his mum puts pieces of scripture in his shoes. I'll have to find out what Isaiah 40:31 is.
You can leave the conversations, I think, Chris, just the tweets. So
yeah. Roger Melly, don't look now, but the run rate is increasing. I think Smith's getting warmed up now.
Then several more tweets about
Tom Strauss, great bloke, great Strauss Foundation, etc. Sorry, but as a commentator, he is a wanker.
Excellent. That's what we want to hear.
Jeff Perkins, I thought as the jingle master that the Bishop was now in the market for some choir boys to train. Yeah.
Nearly there. Final tweets of the session.
Short third man, it seems all teams these days have a problem with openers. Who do you think was the last great opener apart from Cook? Hayden, Langer, Graham Smith, Sawag?
I don't know, Dean Elgar's all right.
And Gus Somerville saying, I listened to a podcast featuring Labuschagne from a few years ago, which ended on the hosts praying for him to be selected in the national side. So you can't knock those results.
Yeah, and on that religious note, we will leave you. It's 147 for 4. We'll be back after tea at 4 o'clock. Please do join us. Even session for England-Australia. Who's going to take the lead?
See you soon.
The best things in life are free. Just like Gorilla comment.